7. And Jacksonville with a 10-3 advantage on the Colts. Steelers lead Baltimore. A couple of scores will all be updated at the half. Interesting formation.
I mean, really, you're at the 4-yard line, and you don't feel comfortable enough in your offense to be able to run a traditional play. I mean, I get the first one when you put yourself kind of backed up inside the 1-yard line.
I mean, this is sad.
I mean, that is just a complete lack of confidence in faith of your offense to be able to execute coming off your end line.
Great to be here with what I've been told is the best hard rock and sports radio show in the world.
Blaze, you know, I liked you before. I love you now.
Hey, this is Brian Damage from Chicks and Rhino Bucket, and you're listening to Hard Rockin' Sports with Tom and Jeff.
With Jeff and Tom.
Hard Rockin' Sports with Jeff and Tom. Hard Rockin' Sports with Jeff and Tom. It's Hard Rockin' Sports with Jeff and Tom. It's Hard Rockin' Sports with Jeff and Tom. Hi, this is Jeff Tate, and you're listening to Jeff and Tom on Hard Rockin' Sports.
Hey, this is Sean Peck from the Three Tremors. This is Hard Rockin' Sports with Tom and Jeff.
Hey, everybody, this is Ross the Boss, and you're listening to Hard Rockin' Sports with Jeff and Tom.
Hey, Rock fans, Mark Gutscott and Trickster, hanging out with my good buddies, old Jeff and Tom right here on Hard Rockin' Sports. You listen, crank it up.
Hey, everybody, this is Kasim Sultan, a very, very famous bass player, and you are listening to Hard Rockin' Sports with Tommy Florio and Jeff Tolinsky.
Yeehaw! This is Jimbo Wallace from Reverend Horton Heat. You're listening to Hard Rockin' Sports with Jeff and Tom. Rock on.
Hey, sports fans, this is Punky Meadows from Angel, and my new solo album, Punky Meadows Fallen Angel. You're listening to Hard Rock Sports Radio Show with Tommy and Jeff.
There you go.
Don't miss it.
Hey, this is Tommy John. You're listening to Hard Rockin' Sports with Tom and Jeff.
With the players.
Come on, live direct from hell's final.
But hey, enough of my yakking. What do you say? Let's boogie.
And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another Thursday edition of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rockin' Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 3-hour weekly get-together. We bring you all the biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and, of course, the wide world of sports. And, guys, welcome to Thursday, the 20th of 2022. And thank you guys for tuning in. That's right, 1 year of Joe Biden. Merry Christmas to you all. A disaster. Anybody watch that press conference yesterday and you didn't come out of that concerned? Boy, I gotta tell you, you ain't paying attention. But we are not going to talk about Joe Biden tonight and all his failures in the first year of office. Nope. We got plenty more things to talk about tonight. We got lots to talk about. NFL player Super Wild Card Weekend is over, and we're on to the divisional weekend. Eight teams left. Was it 8 teams left? Yeah, 8 teams left. We got 4 great games, 2 Saturday and 2 on Sunday. We'll break them down a little bit for you. We'll talk about this past weekend's games. Not classics, folks. A couple of good games, some controversy coming out of a couple of those games, but not classics. We're going to talk a little about the NHL and their 3-on-3 tournament. That's their all-star game. I'll tell you how I feel about the Giants coaching and GM search. I'll give you some thoughts on that. USFL is getting ready to crank it up again. We'll talk about the USFL. We're going to talk a little bit Major League Baseball Hall of Fame candidates, KISS tour dates. Bruce Dickinson's. Hey, what's up, Mike? Bruce Dickinson's got some information regarding a future Iron Maiden tour beyond Legacy of the Beast, which is ongoing again this year. We'll talk a little bit about the new Scorpion single. I'm going to play a little bit for that tonight for Jeff. I don't know if he's heard it yet. Interesting. I want to get his take on that. Let's see what else we got. Again, a lot of football, guys. We'll talk a lot about this past weekend. Some interesting plays. Bruce Arians. We'll talk about quarterbacks in the offseason, lots of stuff. We got plenty to get to. And, of course, I thank you all for tuning in. Again, great show last weekend. If you got a chance, to Sunday Audible, which was Saturday. Jeff got to participate full-time, which was great. We had a lot of fun. 1 hour. That will be repeated this week. Hopefully, Jeff can be involved. I didn't see a definite from him on that, but John and I are going to do 1 hour on Saturday. Hopefully, that's with Jeff. That way, we can talk about all 4 games prior to the start. I hope you guys had a good week. It's been cold. It's got a little snow involved. We have lots of stuff going on, and I'm looking forward to a hot show. And again, thanks to everybody tuning in. Also, big news out of Israel. The numbers are up again. We are huge in Israel. The numbers are climbing. I'll talk to Jeff about that right now as I crank up the show, and I bring on my partner in crime, my best friend of 40 years, and the sexiest guy on his side of the screen, Mr. Jeff Talwinski. What's up, bro?
What's going on, man?
Just getting ready to kick off a show, pal. What's going on?
What is this I hear about numbers in Israel?
We have set a new record. We are to 8.20%. We are up 0.06%. Doesn't sound like much, but we are cranking. The numbers are constantly climbing each week.
Yeah, listen, a little bit each time. What's the difference?
Absolutely. So we are somebody's listening in Israel, Jeff. I don't know who it is. It may be some guy in a tent with a bunch of sheep surrounding him, but whoever it is, they're listening.
They listen. He's making the right choice. Not with the sheep, that is. I'm talking just listening to us.
So, Jeff, let's start the show off like we always do. Jeff, how was your week?
It was long. Yeah.
Yeah. Long because you worked a lot of hours with the weather and all that stuff, or long because it just sucked?
Well, combination of all of those. I worked some extra hours, not as many this week as last week, but the threat of snow and everybody panicking like a motherfucker because it might snow is what gets me.
Sure.
No, it is what it is. But how you doing, Mike? I don't know if you're still listening, but how are you? I wanted to just real quick while we got the chance, that hemp wizard stuff, man, makes my beard nice and soft.
Nice.
It smells good from this morning too.
Yeah, and they got a new scent out called Squatchy, which is a scent made for our boys at Black Sasquatch. So make sure you check out Hemp Wizard Beard Care Co. Mike and Joe, they guys are fantastic. They got some great stuff. Jeff's beard looking better and better each week. I take it a high authority. His wife is extremely happy with the feel of the beard.
Yes, she is. She's it tickles in all the right spots.
We don't want to go there. We'll just say that they do a great job. I got some news. Our good buddy Leonard Torselli is going to be doing an album with a former late Major League Baseball player, and we will probably be talking to both of those guys in the near future about their double CD. So looking forward to that. And listen, you never know who's going to be calling it from Israel anytime soon.
Ask about that one, man. That's
fact. So I can tell you it's all fact. So, but we'll have some fun with that. We got a lot to get to tonight. Jeff, real quick, I want to get my dad on early. So in case we have any, I don't want to have any problems. I love getting my dad on. But just an overview of Super Wild Card Weekend. The ratings were up huge. 40 million people tuned into the Cowboy 49er game. 30 million people tuned into the Tampa Eagle game. Ratings were up. Last couple of years, they've been down. Social justice message was killing, I think, the league. They've decided to pull back from that this year. Very little of that being pushed on people, and seems like the people responding. A lot of people watching a lot of mediocre football last weekend.
Well, I enjoyed the games that I watched. I saw a couple games that were really good, I thought.
Okay.
I enjoyed watching the Buffalo game, the Kansas City game. There was another one that was pretty cool, too, that I had seen. I don't remember which one.
Bengals Raiders?
Yeah, that was a good game, right up to the end.
Yes, that was a good game. We'll get to all of them. I really want to spend some time on the Cowboy game for a lot of reasons. One, because I want to gloat that the Cowboys suck, and they pulled probably the most bonehead play I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
We'll break that down. We'll talk about Super Wild Card Weekend. While not the greatest games, I don't think it's going anywhere. When you take the top 14 teams, Jeff, in football, and some of them are going to be, even though they're at the top, they're in the bottom. There was a bunch of clunker games. Some of those teams, the Eagles, Steelers, a few of those teams did not deserve to be in this tournament. But nonetheless, it was highly viewed. This will be ongoing. In fact, I probably see more teams getting in the near future. But this weekend, Jeff, 4 great football games. We're going to analyze all of them today. But a good job by the NFL. Lots of places to watch the games, and a lot of people watching. So good for the NFL.
There is a couple teams I'm glad that are not in it this year.
Okay,
I will say that much.
Well, I mean, listen. Again, we did get to the bottom of the barrel, and it showed. I mean, the Steelers, were terrible. I thought the Eagles were horrendous.
Yeah.
There was a couple of bad games along the way. Again, a couple games. The Patriots surprisingly did not put up the fight I thought they would.
No, I think they were overwhelmed.
Yeah, and again, listen. Second half of the season, the Cardinals were terrible. I mean, they looked like they never even played. Kyler Murray was horrendous. I got to tell you, I didn't get a chance to do it. I put a note for myself, but Cliff Kingsbury, his 2 or 3 years in the pros, every second half of the season, his team swoons down. They just fall apart, and it goes right back through college. And if anybody's not paying attention, that guy's going to be on the hot seat next year. I know I said it for this year, and I still think he's on the hot seat. But he had such a good first half of the season. I think they were 10-0 at one point. That I think, though, Jeff, the shine is off the apple, so to speak.
I don't know. I mean, I guess this year is a big year for a lot of people. I don't know if he's on the hot seat, but
I would think
time will tell. I mean, but then again, you had him on the hot seat.
I did
this year, and they were one of the best teams in the first half of the.
I agree, but there's 2 halves to the season,
and you also wanted to keep Judge.
I did. I still do.
He's gone.
No, I got you. I still would have kept him. I don't believe that it was his fault. I don't believe he got the chance that he deserved. But listen, I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. I do want to get into, after my dad, I want to get into the Giants coaching and GM search. There's all sorts of talk about Dan Quinn. I've heard a couple of the names, and I'm torn on the Dan Quinn thing. Like I said, let's get my dad on. Yeah, real fast. Now let's hold it. Let me get my dad on, and then we'll come back to Dan Quinn and the Giants, and then we'll hit the NFL. So lots to talk about, guys. Glad you all tuned in. It's Thursday night. It's Hard Rocket Sports. That's Jeff Tomwinski. I'm Tom Florio, and we're glad to have you guys from local all the way out to Israel and parts unknown. I'm glad you guys are all tuned in to us because we have a lot to say. And it might be a little weird if it was just him and I talking like this. So we're glad that somebody's watching and somebody's listening, and we're glad it's you guys. So let's get my dad on. Let's see what he's got to talk about this week, and then we'll get to the Giants and a myriad of other things. What's up, Pop?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
No, just watching the games, and I'm looking forward to so much Saturday night game.
Yeah.
It should be a very good game. And I'm really impressed, and I think it should be a good. It reminds me of the ice game, the ice bowl game.
You talking about the Pack and Niner game, Dad? You talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Coming up this week.
Yep. Yeah. Saturday night is Packers Niners. And then Chiefs and the Bills, which is another good game this week. Saturday is a couple pretty good games.
Yeah, it should be a very good game. And just watch it. And I watched the Dallas for you, as you said, because I just like Dallas.
Yeah.
And I you wonder, you hate to blame the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You hate to blame. But I'd like to know what knucklehead came up with this scheme with 14 seconds left to run the ball, to throw the ball. You were better off just standing on your 45-yard line than throw a few passes. I don't know.
I'll let Jeff jump on this one first. So, I mean, Jeff, What was your did you watch the play live or did you see it later?
Yeah, I was watching the game live as it happened. At first, they seemed to be moving the ball pretty well. They had a buffer, so they were moving the ball. And I don't understand. And you've seen it happen more than once. Team has like minimal seconds left, and then they do something really stupid that it pass the ball in the middle. I just don't understand. And a running play, and I just didn't understand what was going on. Like, what was the mindset? When you mentioned it earlier, I was going to ask, if you're a coach, a football coach, and you're in that situation, will you set up a fail-safe system where, like, even if you called this play ahead of time where you got somebody alongside, you'd be like, no, change it. You know, they didn't get out of bounds or something of that nature with minimal time left and no timeouts. How could you be looked at as a professional coach and let that happen? I just don't understand that at all whatsoever.
Well, here's what I read and here's what I heard all week, because I listened to sports radio all week. I tried to catch as much as I can this week, all over the place. And it seems that the Cowboys supposedly practiced that play religiously with about the same amount of seconds on the clock. And the deal is supposed to be that Prescott is supposed to run for 10 yards, fall down immediately, and jump back up. Now, he went an additional 7 yards, which probably takes a second extra or so off the clock. Then it's a little extra time for the team to get that much further down the field, plus the referee. Second thing they didn't do was give the referee a heads up. So if you tell the ref, here's what's coming, the guy's anticipating. Otherwise, you got that oh shit moment where he goes, oh my God, I got to get there. So it was failure to execute properly. But having said that, I would never have run that. If you were going to go to the middle of the field, I would have run a 10-yard quick pass, tell the receiver, take a knee. Okay, it's clean. It's only 10 yards. The guy goes to a knee. Everybody runs to the ball, and you spike it, and you probably get off another play. But the fact that Prescott went 17 yards screwed the whole thing up.
Maybe call that play when there's 20 seconds or 25 seconds.
I'm not disagreeing with you. This should be
what I mean? I just didn't understand that play whatsoever. That made no sense. It took too much time.
Yeah, I guess that at some point, when you practice that, I would think you'd have to have a clock in your head and say, okay, the minimum amount of time left to run that would be 20 seconds because it takes X amount of time to get the play off, have the referee touch the football, the whole bit. I think they misjudged the 14 seconds and ran what I would call a very bad play.
I agree with you. Well, what baffles me, though, you're saying to me that they practice.
Yes.
In practice. Well, wouldn't you say, now, as soon as you get up, make sure you hand the ball to the referee.
Yes.
And let him place it.
Yes.
Right? Because you're practicing. This is not something like
Correct.
you're in the schoolyard playing football.
Correct. You didn't draw this up in the dirt on the sideline. I agree with you.
Yeah, but did you see where the referee was?
That ran this play or taught this play should be held accountable for it.
Listen, to me, that comes down to Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator. Now, ultimately, the head coach is responsible. So, surprisingly, he's not getting fired. Not specifically for that play, but we're going to get into the Cowboys later. But Jerry Jones has put a pretty decent team on the field for the first time. The defense played really well. They moved the ball this year, and watching that game, guys, I don't know how much you guys pay attention. They had 14 penalties, the Cowboys. 8 of them either cost them a first down or allowed San Francisco to keep a drive alive with a first down. That's big. When it comes down to offside penalties and, there was a holding penalty on the defensive line, late in the game where it cost them a first down and cost them the clock. That's bad coaching. So to me, this is on the coaching staff and the players for being undisciplined.
Tommy, I have to agree with you to a point, but I got to be honest with you. I don't think Dallas was as good as everybody tried to make them out to be, because when they played quality teams, they got the shit kicked out of them. When they played good teams, they got the shit.
I agree with you, Pop. But when you go 12-5 for the season, make the playoffs, there's an expectation. I agree with you. I don't think Jeff agrees with me on this. I think the Cowboys were an overrated team in a bad division, and won some games along the way. They beat the Patriots on a big play late. Otherwise, there's a loss. But yeah, I don't disagree. I just think that the Cowboys are overrated. But when you get to that spot, Jeff, there's an expectation, and when you don't live up to it, regardless of whether I think you're overrated or not, there's gonna be some consequences for it.
Yeah, well, there should be some consequences for it. But I mean, listen, as far as the Cowboys go, they're definitely not in the class of some of the teams that are in the playoffs now.
No,
they're definitely better than some of the teams that made the playoffs. So I don't know if I call them an overrated team, but you know what? They're definitely a team that definitely disappointed.
Yes,
in the playoffs. And I just wanted to add, when your dad said about the referee giving the ball to the referee, if you watch the replay, the referee was, I don't know where the fuck he was, but he was nowhere near the football when that play was down. He was running as fast as he could, it looked like, back towards the line of scrimmage so that he could do what he had to do with the ball. But they lost a couple seconds waiting for him to get there.
Well, that's why I said it. I will tell you that, Jeff, playing in just the simple stand-on touch tackle league, there were certain plays that you wanted to give the referee a heads up. And as no professionals, be league guys, you would go to the referee and say, "Hey, I'm running this play. Can you be ready to get the ball set?" Or, "Hey, right after this play, I'm going to call a timeout." So you're not looking for the referee to give that. And they said it in practice. They told the referee, quote unquote, the referee, "Hey, we're running this play. Please be ready to run up there." Because what happens is the referee's flat-footed. He's watching the play, and then he's got to recognize what just happened. And there's a second or so before he recognizes it, and he ain't an all-pro athlete, Jeff. So now he's got to realize what's happening and run as fast as he can. And some of those guys ain't the fastest guys in the whole world. And get around all these big guys, touch the ball, and place it.
You got to wonder if they're going to change the rule on that because of this, and maybe maybe give it a 3-second downtime to see where the ref could get into position to make the call. Or
what do you mean, like hold the clock for a couple beats to let the referee get to where he's got to get to?
Exactly, because sometimes there's a team who has something at stake because a 60-year-old man has got to run 15 yards, and like you said, some of them just ain't gonna fucking make it.
But again, that you put yourself in that position. It's not a crazy idea. Look, at college does it. College on a first down stops the clock momentarily so the referee can get up there, spot the ball, and they move the chains. So college does that. Maybe it's 2-3 seconds, but it gives you that seconds. You don't lose that time.
Would be giving everybody a chance.
Correct. Now, do I think the Cowboys got it off on time? I don't. I think it was a bad play call, and I think in the end of the day, they didn't deserve to even have that chance based on how horrible they played. But at the end of the day, here it comes. It was a terrible play call, executed terribly, and this season ended. And they got to face that for the next 6 months or better, before they get a chance to rectify it. And if that play call is still in their playbook come August, they should all be fired.
Well, hard to disagree with that.
I gotta tell you, Tom, I understand all the excuses.
Yeah.
The newspapers on TV.
Yeah.
And when you talk to the Dallas players.
Yep.
The bottom line was that's not a play that should be called with 14 seconds left. Because
I agree.
has to be perfect.
100% right.
And even if you do, and you get 2 seconds left on the clock,
right?
I mean, you're leaving yourself one throw.
Well,
come on.
Let's take it one step further. Right now they would have got the ball down to around the 20-yard line. So now think about it. Now you just shrunk the field where you can't even throw a short pass. That maybe the Chiefs have done it. They'll throw a pass to like the 10-yard line, and then Tyreek Hill or Kelsey will beat a player or two and score a touchdown. If you stay out a little further, Jeff, it gives your receivers a chance to have more maneuvering. So by getting in as tight as they did, even if they would have had spiked the ball, they actually would have made it tougher on themselves to score a touchdown.
Yeah, but you know what, Tom? They would have had the opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
Had the opportunity to at least try. And that's all you need in the NFL is the opportunity.
Of course.
The opportunity doesn't always work.
No, but you got to give yourself that opportunity.
Exactly. And listen, anything can happen. What about, that fucking interception that Kyler Murray threw on his own end? Who the hell saw that coming? So, I mean, to say that Dallas wasn't going to score a touchdown isn't 100% accurate because who knows? Who knows?
I couldn't agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more, Pop. It was a good subject. Yeah, that's, again, probably one of the worst playoff calls I have ever seen. I thought about it all week. I couldn't come up with another one, but that's probably the worst playoff call I've ever seen.
I've seen some boneheads, but I just think that, you see a play, you say, well, but this was a play that everything had to go perfect.
Yeah.
And even when you did it, like you said, with a few seconds left, you shortened the field down.
Yeah.
You want the field to be bigger.
Yes.
You want to be able to.
You made it easier for the defense to cover you. You made it easier for the defense to cover you. Yes.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Because all you're doing is a couple of bumps at the line.
Yep.
I think it was a stupid play.
100%.
All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go.
Thanks, Pops.
Have a good game. Talk to you guys later. Jeff, take care. Tommy, I'll see you over the weekend.
You got it, Pops.
You good, Mr. Florio. I'll see you soon.
Take care, buddy.
That's my dad. Checks in every week. Love having him, and we'll continue on with our Super Wildcard Weekend talk. But before we do, Jeff, I said it before. My dad. I wanted to talk a little bit the Giants coaching search, and I know it seems like for some reason that Dan Quinn has jumped in the case. Now, I did a little homework on Dan Quinn. Now, do I think Dan Quinn's a great defensive coordinator? Maybe. He was part of the Legion of Doom. He was the defensive coordinator when Seattle had the great defense. He's rectified Dallas's defense. They were terrible last year. He's done a great job there. Do I think that he's probably a great defensive coordinator? Yes, but Jeff, being a great defensive coordinator does not make you a great head coach. And the guy 6 seasons in Atlanta was 43-42, absolutely fell on his face after the Super Bowl, and to me will always go down as the biggest, worst Super Bowl bonehead loss that I've probably ever seen.
It's because it was.
Yeah. So maybe some guys are just coordinators, Jeff. Isn't that is that the worst possible thing in the world if your best thing is being the second banana and not necessarily the top banana?
No, of course not. But the point of the matter is this. Okay, you got a team like the New York Giants who's gone through a decade of not being successful at all whatsoever.
Right.
Now you have a chance. You have a young quarterback who we don't know for sure what's going to happen with him, but let's assume that they want to keep him.
Right.
You got a young quarterback that you want to keep. This is it. If you don't get this coaching pick right and general manager pick right, you're done for another couple of seasons.
Oh, listen, we'll be back in the same boat 2 years from that, where you'll be yelling and screaming to fire the coach and the GM, and we'll be doing that whole thing again. And I said it before, I personally, I have no say in the matter, obviously, but I want nothing to do with the next coordinator. I don't want Kellen Moore or Brian Leftwich. I don't want to worry that this guy has never coached at any level, been a coordinator for a couple of years, and has no idea how to run a team, let alone run a game. And I want an ex-head coach in my book for this team because we can't afford to have the next bust. Having said that, there's only a few of those guys right now. I don't want Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is a good defensive coordinator and a nice guy, terrible head coach. And I don't want Dan Quinn. So
no, I don't think that Todd Bowles is the right coach for that team.
Correct.
I think that you're going to need. I think that he could be a pretty decent head coach if he's in the right situation. But then again, I guess I could say that about me also.
Correct.
Okay?
100%. Yeah.
All right. But let's just stick with Dan Quinn because his name was mentioned.
Yep.
You're talking about a coach with basically a 500 record.
Yep.
The 6 seasons in the NFL or whatever it is. Now you got to hope that he's going to have the knowledge to bring along a quarterback who's on iffy ground.
Right.
To say the least right now at this point in time. Is he or isn't he? And if he isn't, is Dan Quinn going to have enough knowledge to try to push him into the is he category? You know what I mean? He is category.
Yeah.
That alone would scare me. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but you know what? I remember correctly, every year his record went down a little bit.
100%. And you know what? He had himself a pretty decent quarterback, 2 good receivers, and they didn't take advantage of that. He had a well-established quarterback at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And that team, if I remember right, they didn't even make the playoffs the following year.
I don't think they made the playoffs after that at all. I don't think walking out the door the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I agree. So, to me, I thought he should have gotten fired a year after and he hung on for 2 more years for some reason out there. I guess he's well liked. And to be honest with you, the defense wasn't even that good. Let's forget about the Super Bowl. In general, they weren't thought of as a defensive team. They were more of an offensive team getting into the playoffs.
Look at some. I don't remember all of the names in question in general, but I mean, they had Julio Jones at that point in time.
Yeah,
the guy was
in his prime.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of reasons that team should have done a lot better than what it did. But listen, it didn't, and they still got to the Super Bowl. Okay, so when are you going to say that Dan Quinn has a Super Bowl on his resume? As of right now, he has only made it to the one. And I don't remember them having much success in the playoffs with Dan Quinn anyway.
Again, I'd have to look up his record. Again, as a coordinator, I believe he's been to 2 Super Bowls, won one, lost one with Seattle, and obviously, got his team to the playoff this year. And again, the defense fell apart in the playoff in last week's game. They didn't play well. They imploded, stupid penalties, offsides. Randy Gregory tackles the offensive guard and gets a holding penalty on the defensive line. It's a once a year call. That completely gave the other team gave the 49ers a first down. But Jeff, like I said, I want an ex-coach because I don't want the next offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, young assistant that has never run a team before and run a game on himself. So to me, that to me is a scary proposition, but it seems like whoever the Giants are enamored with him because before they've even hired a GM, they've already asked for an interview with Dan Quinn.
Yeah, which worries me a little bit too, being that it's not the general manager that's asking for this, or how much input could they possibly be, unless that them going after the guy in Buffalo was a done deal, and he was like, "Listen, I think that we should go after this guy from the Cowboys,"
and it might be right,
which is a possibility, but even that's still a stretch, and unless all of that falls into line, you're still talking a lot, man, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I think their strong candidate. Now, maybe they haven't told them that, but maybe their strong candidate has said, "Hey, if I'm hired, this is the top 3 guys I want to go after," and or maybe all 3 candidates have him on top of the list. I don't know. To me, the Giants. Well, now it depends. Are they keeping Patrick Graham as the defensive coordinator? What's going to happen there? I want an offensive guy if possible because they need to fix the offense. And I would throw a ton of money at Patrick Graham and keep him because he's done a great job. Of course, that's with the approval of the GM and the coach. But I'm looking for an offensive guy who's going to be able to help Daniel Jones become a better player, or help us get a guy who can be a better player and make this offense better because we were piss poor.
Well, listen, just the main thought that you have a quarterback in Daniel Jones, and you don't know which way you're going with him and which way that the team is going to go under his direction. You need to have somebody to calm him down.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think that a defensive-minded coach is the way to go when you're trying to, unless they have plans for Daniel Jones too, or unless they're going to say, "All right, look, stop handing the ball over or giving the ball up."
Yeah.
You're going to just be a game manager here. We're not asking you to do anything elite. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And we'd rather be a defensive team and win defensively. I could see that, but even at that, I don't know, man. That's still risky.
Yeah, I agree, Jeff. Like I said, obviously we don't have much of a say in it, but I'll tell you that if it was up to me, it's an ex-coach with an offensive background is where I like Brian Dable. There's a couple of guys who fit, although Dable wasn't a head coach. But I definitely want an offensive mind and then hire the best possible defensive coordinator you can get. I'd love to see him keep Patrick Graham. I think the guy's done a fantastic job. Make him assistant head coach. Whatever keeps him, give him a raise, and then go get an offensive guy and then settle on an offensive coordinator. But Dan Quinn just doesn't excite me, not from a boring standpoint, just from what he's done in his past. And again, anytime a coach – they didn't just lose that game. He was terrible in that game. His calls, his lack of clock management was horrendous in that game, and it cost them the Super Bowl. 25-3 at halftime, and you lose. Come on, Jeff. That's a bad.
Listen, I hear you, and like I said, I remember that game, and of course watching it and thinking that like, wow, they're shellacking the shit out of the Patriots. But I mean, that was a combination of the Patriots being determined and wanting to come back and win, and Atlanta not knowing how to finish off an opponent. To me,
true.
There was definitely a collapse. Without a doubt. You can't deny that at all whatsoever.
No, both points are correct, Jeff. Yeah, you're both points are correct. So, listen, we'll see. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see who gets who here and how it plays out. But I'm watching. They're down to looks like 3 candidates for GM. So I would imagine sometime early this week we're going to have an announcement and a press conference, and then a coaching search immediately. And I would think that by the Super Bowl we should have a coach, a GM, and a game plan.
God, I hope it fails.
It's more fun for
you. I really do. I hope it fails. I want to see them be stuck in the muck and mire for years.
More fun for you?
I want them to be the new Detroit Lions.
Surprising, there was no talk about my man Dan Campbell getting fired, which I'm very happy about. But I thought there'd be more of a groundswell of people looking to get him fired after 1 year. I thought he did a decent job.
This seems to be the thing in the NFL. We're not going to fire anybody after a year. They're going to get 2 or 3 years to. I don't understand it. Like, is it the whole NFL to turn, and like everybody goes at once? Like, okay, shift A, step to the front of the line.
Yeah, okay. That is it. You know what, Jeff? People talk about all these young guys getting opportunities. That's because there's who do you turn to? Like, who's the elder coach who maybe has a coach in a year or two that you could call up and try to get him to come and coach your team? Like, there really is no ex-coach out there right now. I mean, Bill Cowher is 15 years out of the league. Take Bill Cowher out of it.
I don't think Bill Cowher is coming back.
No, I agree with you. So I'm saying is, you take Bill Cowher off the list because people talk about him every. This is the first year I didn't hear his name. Who's that ex-coach? The only one name you hear is Rex.
How old is Bill Cowher?
63.
That's it?
Yeah, I think he's fairly young. I don't believe.
Well, young by human standards, but by NFL coach standards.
Yeah, I'm gonna look him up for you right now.
He's 64.
Yeah, so
He's 65 in May.
Right. So I mean, I agree with you, but think about it. You got Pete Carroll 70, still hanging around. Belichick's got to be 68. He's still hanging around. Andy Reid's got to be up there in that level. He's still hanging around.
Rex, by the way, is 59.
Right. So I've heard Rex's name a few times, but I don't think anybody's clamoring for Rex. But really, who's that ex-coach that's out there that you would say, hey, we could drag him out of retirement, the old Bill Parcells type guy? There isn't. So everybody's turning to these young guys. There's no grizzled vet out there who might be a year away, a year off the job, and they want to bring him back.
No.
Yeah. So
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Joe. It's interesting. Nobody's hired a coach yet. Lots of interviews going on. A lot of openings right now. Still, people talking. So we'll see how that plays out. Well, obviously, we'll update everybody on the Giants situation, and we'll give you our thing. We'll just see how it plays out. But Jeff, it's you know what? Before we get to a lot of football, I do want to talk a little music this week, and I want to, one of those bands that's always kind of been there forever. They talked about retiring. They're back. They're in. They're out. A bunch of lineup changes over the years. I gotta think at this point, the longest three members have to be the singer and the 2 guitar players. I think it's different bass player and a different drummer in the Scorpions at this point, right?
I do not know. I think the bass player is. I do not know.
All right, but either way, so they have a new single out. I have a couple singles out, and I don't know if you had gotten to see it yet, but I'd like to play it for you if you wouldn't mind.
Please let me hear it.
All right, so let me.
You booked a sunny Verbo ski chalet with endless views of snow-covered peaks. A stove that inspires magnificent hot cocoa.
Get it up on the screen here for you, Jeff.
And a perfect ski-in, ski-out. But the thing they'll remember...
Okay, you can see it now, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
It's gonna...
Here we go. So what's your first initial thought? Give me your very first thought.
I think Klaus Meine is too old to be doing what he's doing.
I thinking the same exact thing.
Followed real close by Rudolph Schenker and Matthias Jebs.
You know what? I love the sound of the music. I don't like his voice. I used to think he had one of the better voices. I don't like his voice in this song. I don't think it's a bad song. It's a typical heavy metal, try to get on a radio song. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those songs you don't go, it doesn't suck, but it ain't great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll play one. What's the second or two of it?
Who is the drummer of these guys now?
I don't know. I mean, let me look it up for you. Oh, you know, I always thought that Matthias Jebs was like the coolest guy in the world. He always just looked cool playing. You know, I don't know why. He was just that guy. I always thought he was just like a cool guy.
He might be.
I gotta put Scorpions band. Sorry.
Is it James Kodak?
It might be. It might exactly who that might be. Scorpions band. Let's get the Wikipedia out. Let's see who's in the Scorpions today. Members of Rudy Schenker. No, it's not. Klaus Meine, Matthias Jebs, Powell Masuoda, and Mickey D, the drummer. Mickey D is the drummer for Motorhead, yeah. So Mickey D is the drummer right now in the Scorpions, and whoever this Powell Masuoda is the bass player that takes over for, what is it, Herman Rarebell and Francis Bullschultz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh man, that was pretty good.
Are these guys alive?
I know that. I think the drummer had some serious issues. I want to say some sort of legal issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost positive. Rarebell, the drummer, the bass player, I'm not sure what happened to him. I don't know if he just retired. Again, you know, a band, you know, that's a band. There's a couple of them that I never got to see live. They are one. Priest is another. I never got to see live. That, you know, if I could drag my old fat ass out, I'd love to see them one time. I know that their shells are what they used to be.
Oh, please, man.
I got it. I got you on that, Jeff. I do. But it's, you know, it's one of those things I'd like to say. I mean, I've seen Queensryche and Quiet Riot and Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath, and, you know, I've seen a bunch of bands, but there's a few of the legendary bands. And Scorpions are a legendary band no matter how you look at it. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I'm not going to hold on. Yeah, I'm not at all. Maybe never at this point. But you know, they're one of those legendary bands from the 80s. I mean, you know, Black and Blue was one of the biggest tours of all time. I mean, you know, I mean, they you know, Blackout was a great album. You know, everything prior to Blackout was some really good Scorpion stuff. You know, Love Drive, Animal Magnetism. You know, there's some good albums back then. I think after that, you know, with what was it, the Winds of Change from Forward, Rock You Like a Hurricane, everything was too focused on being on the radio.
Well, you know, when they put out the Blackout album and they had No One Like You when they got on the radio.
Correct.
You know, that gets addictive. And
yes,
that's almost 40 years ago.
It's got to be 40 years, I would think, right? 81, 82?
I remember being in high school.
Sure.
What's the name of that album? Blackout?
That's the name of the album.
I bet you that's 1981 or something.
I would agree with you. That's got to be 81 or 82 because I was in high school. That's the first Scorpions album I think I ever heard was that album.
Yeah.
And then I went backwards like I did with a bunch of bands.
Scorpions. What was the name of that album we said?
Blackout.
Blackout. That album came out in 82, March 29th, 1982.
Yeah, like I said, I knew it was early in my high school life. And that, to me, I love that's my favorite Scorpions album. Even though I love the song Love Drive and Another Piece of Me, Blackout is just top to bottom. It's one of those albums that I can put on the very first song right through the last song, and it's lots of great stuff for me. I love that album. But it seemed like after that, it kind of turned into, you're right, they got addicted to No One Like You being on the radio all over the place,
Mhm.
and everything became that change. And but again, still one of those bands that if I had the opportunity to see, I'd like to say, I saw the Scorpions.
You know, I saw them.
Did you?
Yeah, when I saw Monsters of Rock tour, it was Kingdom Come, the Scorpions, Metallica, Dokken, and Van Halen.
Were you? Could you come away impressed with Scorps?
I don't remember. Well, I was more in shock over seeing Metallica for the first time, to be honest with you, and the show that they put on.
Who was the open? Who was the close on that?
It was Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come was more of like a Led Zeppelin type band, right?
Well, they were kind of compared to Zeppelin at the time.
Okay.
But we see how far they've lasted.
Yeah.
It was Kingdom Come, Metallica, Dokken, Scorpions, Van Halen.
Did you stick around for Van Halen?
I was in the midst of leaving in the middle of that show, middle of their set. I don't even think we made it to the middle of their set. We were just
You left because you felt like it, or you left because you felt like you had to get out of there for them?
I just didn't feel like hearing all the shit off of OU812. And then a little while after that, as we were leaving, they started playing the David Lee Roth stuff. But I mean,
what was that like? That's like 87, 88?
Oh, that was 1988. Yeah, Monsters of Rock tour.
Okay.
But who the fuck wanted to see that anyway? You know,
yeah. I saw them in 90 something, 95, 97 with I want to say not Soundgarden. It was one of those sound something bands. I can't remember who it was, but it was horrendous. I mean, Van Halen was just terrible that night. Sammy was bad. Eddie couldn't even walk. He was sitting the whole concert. They just sounded terrible, had no life. I remember leaving, and I ran into a buddy of mine that I went to high school with, and he was like, "Hey, great to see you. Yeah, we could say we saw each other at the horrible Van Halen show."
Yeah.
And, it was just terrible. But yeah, again, Scorp's one of those bands that I hope they keep doing it forever. It doesn't have to be great. I love when bands do it when it's time to retire. When they decide to retire it, finally retire. They announced the retirement about 7 or 8 years ago, and then for some reason they're still going. It's the longest retirement of all time.
I guess COVID extended their farewell tour.
No, they did it before that. I think in I want to say 2015, they announced that this would be the last album, the last tour. And then they did pretty well on the tour. And then it was like, well, since it's so good, we're going to hang around and we're going to continue the thing for 3 years. And I think 7 years later, they're still out there playing and doing it. And listen, they still sound good. I mean, the music sounds good. I like to see what it sounds like live, but
this guy's 73 years old.
Oof. Wow.
Okay. Rudy Schenker's got to be 70.
Hey, look at the Stones, man. Those guys got to be closer to 80, and they're still doing it. So
yeah, different kind of music.
I agree with you. I agree. Hey, did you hear the one about Priest? I wanted to get that in a little bit. Did you? That they were going to go out as a quartet.
No, I did not hear that.
Yes, I saw. I think 2 weeks ago on a Monday.
Rudy Schenker's 73, by the way.
Wow. Yeah, that's scary. Yeah. But yeah, so a couple weeks ago they announced they're going out. I want to say that they're going to do their 50th anniversary tour with just one guitar player and the occasional appearance by Glenn Tipton. Now, last time they toured a couple years ago, they went out with Andy Sneap, who's their producer of their last album, Firepower. Firepower the last album? I don't know whatever the last album was. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but so he was disappointed. He wasn't going to go out, and they got a lot of backlash. And Jeff, let me tell you something. If I've never seen them live, but the one thing that you would say, the first thing that would pop up in your brain if you thought of somebody said, "What do you think of when you think of Judas Priest?" Is Twin Guitar Attack. Yeah,
definitely.
So there was a lot of backlash from people on them going out as a quartet, and I didn't understand why. And if you didn't like anybody else, and I get the fact that there's some hard feelings with KK, but to me, it seems like the perfect opportunity to say, hey, we're going to bring KK back and do this tour with him. He's up for it. He's trying his hardest to get back. But then they wound up about 2 or 3 days later, they said, okay, we changed our mind. Andy Sneap's going to go back out with us. Tipton's going to jump in once in a blue moon, and we're going to go out as a 5-piece like we should. And I thought it would have been one of the worst decisions a band could make, because it's got to change the sound of Judas Priest.
They would just probably play over a track.
You would have to, but again, how how funky or funny would that sound? Yeah, you blend in. It sounds great. But if you're a fan in the audience and you're hearing that harmony going off like Electric Eye or some of those other songs, you kind of got to go, come on, guys. You couldn't come up with another guitar player, even if it's a no name.
How about this? For the age of those guys, right? Today is Ian Ian Hill's birthday.
Okay.
I don't know how old he is. I'd imagine he's got to be in his 70s.
I would say he's the last original member, but go ahead.
Yeah, you should have just put it to bed. You should have just put it to bed. Don't go out as a quartet. Don't do that. Just put it to fucking sleep.
Yeah, again, I think if that's your only option, then I say put it to bed. You're right. You can't go out that way. Again, I think Priest is the last couple albums weren't terrible. They're not great, but they weren't terrible. And people seem to rave about the shows. So good for them. Keep going as long as you can go. I mean, and once you call it a day, don't be Motley Crue signing contracts. We're not coming back and then come back. I mean, that to me is the silliest thing ever. But if you're Iron Maiden, if you're Judas Priest, there are certain bands that you just have to have two guitars in, and those are the first two that come to my mind.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, so I think it was an interesting couple of days. They must have got a lot of backlash from fans, from people saying, "What are you, crazy?" And go that route. So good for them for changing their mind. Bad idea, but the way to save it. And they'll be hitting the road this summer. So they'll be local. I don't know. I'm debating trying to go to one of their shows. I'm hoping I go to Atlantic City again. That way I go to Atlantic City for the weekend and then catch a show. That would work. I don't know if I'd ever, go through the hassle of going, getting in the car, driving to Manhattan and going to see a concert.
Yeah, I hear you, but your idea about bringing back KK would probably make the most sense out of anything.
Yeah,
do not want to bring him back at this point in time.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of hard feelings. They're just, there's a lot of hard feelings. He had a lot of bad things to say. He wrote the book, the whole bit, blasted those guys. So I guess at the end of the day, there's just no love there. But to me, 50th anniversary, you're celebrating it. You're looking for another guitar player. Tipton can't do it full time because of Parkinson's. Then you got to bring KK back.
Yeah, last time I saw any kind of footage of Glenn Tipton, I'm surprised even taking a chance of bringing this guy out on the fucking stage.
Yeah, so was I. Yeah, I saw a picture recently, and he looked good sitting. He looked like he was healthy. But you're right. The last time I saw a video of him, he barely looked like he could stand.
Yeah, he did not look so good.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Again, Hard Rockin' Sports, Jeff Towinski, Tom Florio. Thursday night it must be because we're here talking with you. And if nobody else is listening, we got our friend out in Israel. He's out there paying attention to us. So shalom to you, my friend.
I would love to know. I really would love to know, and I hope that you guys hear us. Evidently you hear us, so it's just static stuck on somebody's radio. It's just like, who are you and what's going on and what are your thoughts of this? Are you coming in once a week listening? Like, I don't understand it. Are we maybe they have some Palestinians tied up in a basement someplace and they play this shit to torture them? I don't know.
It's very possible, Jeff. Didn't think of it that way. Yeah, you're 100% right. But anyway, we're glad you're here. We're going to be back every Thursday. We do our thing coming up. I got a week coming off. I'm going to go on vacation. The wife and I just booked another trip to Florida coming up in February. So we're going to go celebrate a week off. I'm taking the last 2 weeks of February off. And I'm going to go 3-4 days to Florida. And then I have a big project in the house, do a little demo, a little rehab to my Florida room. So I'm going to enjoy a little time off right after Valentine's Day. We'll celebrate Valentine's Day and down in Florida. And we'll be back. We'll leave Tuesday. We come back on Friday. Simple, quick vacation, but we'll be in the warm weather for a few days. And I think I need to recharge the batteries. So we'll be right after the Super Bowl. And we'll come back. And don't forget, this Saturday, what's your thoughts on Saturday? You're going to be able to jump in for an hour?
Yeah, I told you. Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure I read it right. So, we'll just pick a time.
9 o'clock, right?
Okay, so good. 9 o'clock.
Well,
Saturday.
is that the time that you planned?
I didn't know if we picked it. I preferred 9 earlier the better because I got stuff to do, but I could do 10 as well. But 9 to 10 is perfect for me. So
whatever. I don't have anything to do. Major that I can't.
Yeah.
Be ready to go.
Good. So we'll do the Sunday Audible this Saturday again. That way we can talk about all 4 games, and we're about to do that right here too. So we're glad you guys popped in. We got a lot more to talk about tonight, and we got a lot more coming up. We got some guests in the pipeline. I'm waiting on some thank yous. I have just made contact with the Iron Sheiks people. It's nowhere close to booking. I would just say they acknowledged my email finally, and I guess I'm waiting for the top guy to get back to me to say what he can and what he can't do. But I finally, after several emails and a lot of painstaking tries, I finally got somebody to answer. So we are about ready to start the negotiation.
All right, I'll tell you right now.
Go ahead.
I'm telling you right now.
Go ahead.
On air in front of our Israeli friends.
Yes.
I myself will be willing to throw 100 up if we have to pay this guy.
Well, I will guarantee you there will be a fee involved. They do nothing for free.
That's fine. That's fine. Because it's the Iron Sheik and the shit that he may say.
Just for the sake of what he might say, not what he will say.
Yeah, just for the sake of what one of the first things I want to tell him is, Sheik, we have a big audience in Israel.
Oh, yes.
Being you're from Iran, I know you guys don't always get along. What are your thoughts of that?
Yeah, that's
you got to hit him at the end in case he decides to call it a day and hang up.
Well, are you afraid of scaring off our Israeli friends?
No, they're tough people, man. They know good entertainment when they see it.
Well, we'll see how it plays out, but we have made contact finally. Holy cow! It's got to be a week that you asked me to make that try, and it's finally today, this afternoon. I got an email back saying we'll pass this on to the right people. We don't see why not. We'll get back to you, type of thing.
I follow him on Instagram. And he was posting stuff the last couple of days. And then he said something to somebody, and he was like, "Fuck you!" Like he just says shit. It's got to be him doing it.
It's a good question. He's got to be close to 80 years old.
I don't know, man.
I think he's close to. If he's not 80, he's 78, 79. I'd almost bet it. You looking it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you he's close to 80.
79.
Yeah, I knew he's up there. So it's going to be an interesting one. We'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully we'll get him booked in the near future, and we'll make Jeff smile a little bit, because I know that this is his baby. He wants this in the worst way. And I'll tell you flat out, if we get the Sheik, you're handling the whole interview.
Listen, no problem.
Okay.
It's going to be great. I want to know what his thoughts about the coronavirus and Omicron, whatever. I want to know that. There's a lot of things I want to know about Hulk Hogan. I want to know whose ass he could kick in the WWE yesterday and today.
He is quite the it's funny, of all the guys from that era, to think that he is the guy who's still the most relevant, maybe right next door, right behind Hogan, is really funny, because while he was a pretty big character name, like you thought that he would just go away and never come back again, and yet he's still the most relevant. I would think he's the most relevant former WWF wrestler still alive.
We may be one of the only former
of that era
wrestlers that are alive. So
yeah, from the 80s. I mean, I'm sure most people would say that Stone Cold or the Undertaker, those guys are still alive, and they're probably maybe more relevant than him. But out of those 80s guys, he's one of the last, like you said, but he's still a name. And the fact, I mean, listen, he's nuts, he's insane, so it helps. And he got one of the biggest shows. Yeah, I
can't wait, man. It's gonna be fucking great.
So we will see. We'll see how that plays out. But you guys get a chance. Keep listening, and we'll keep updating you on future guests and future shows. And I'm glad that you're out there listening to us tonight. And special thanks to our Israeli friends for popping in. So thanks to everybody, and let's keep it going. Let's get back to do a little football. We'll get back to, I got a couple more. I got an Iron Maiden story. I got a Kiss story to talk about. We'll hold them till a little later in the show. Hey, Jeff, so last weekend's games, Super Wild Card Weekend, I told you most of the games were very highly rated. It seems like everybody was watching. And listen, I think a big part of that, even with the bad games, people are betting. People are betting like crazy. I think somebody said there was $150 million bet last weekend on the football games. I want to say that's the number I heard, but could be off a few bucks. But, I mean, just, I'll be honest with you, I sat there making $2 bets on each individual play, just having some fun with some of the games. Let's talk about some of the bigger games. We did a lot on the Dallas game. Let's talk a little bit about the Bengals and the Raiders. Good football game. First playoff win for the Bengals in 31 years. Little controversy on the whistle play, which I think is total bullshit. I'll play that play for you, and we'll kind of listen for the whistle. I seem to think that the whistle kind of happened just as the guy was going to catch the ball, and it was irrelevant. But we'll see what you think. But that was a pretty good football game. Not a classic, but a good one.
Yeah, it was good. It went down to the wire.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous there for a while. I mean, I didn't really matter to me who won the game. I had wanted to see Cincinnati win the game, and they ended up winning. So
yeah, and I'll tell you what, the more I watch, and we're gonna talk about maybe right after we finish this, I want to talk to you about there's 8 teams left. I want you to rate the top 8 teams based on who you think has the best possibility of winning the Super Bowl. But for now,
I definitely want to do that because I rated my teams first.
Go ahead.
And I went to see if I could find it anywhere. And I believe it was with the NFL.com I found it.
Oh, yeah?
And not one of my teams matched theirs.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But watching that game, the one thing that came out of that game was Joe Burrow's a legit quarterback in this league. I mean, Joe Burrow can be in the conversation for top 10 quarterback in the league right now. And I'm going to say, barring any major injuries or someone foreseen thing, Joe Burrow is going to be an elite quarterback in the near future.
Joe Burrow may be an elite quarterback right now. He may be within the top 5. If you think about it, who are your top 5 quarterbacks right now as you speak?
Well, I gotta go. Rodgers, Brady.
I would put Brady in the top 5 now.
Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes, Josh Allen would be my top 4 right off the top of my head. And then I'd have to think about going for number 5 and forward. Boy, that's a tough one. Again, there's a few guys. I mean, you got Burrow, you got Herbert, you got boy, that's a tough one after that. So I think of playoff teams that have a good quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely put him in my top 10. He might even make my top 7 or 8.
Burrow?
Yeah.
I think he'd have to. I mean, right now, if you say Mahomes, Josh Allen, definitely.
Yep.
I would have to say that.
Yep.
Herbert, I enjoy watching Herbert play.
I agree with you there. Yep.
He plays good. I think Joe Burrow, there's no reason to say he's not in the top 5 at this point in time. Brady, I can't put him in the top 5.
Why?
Because he's old.
He led the league in touchdowns. He led the league, I think, in not in yards. I think he was like 3rd in yards. I got your point, but he's, I would tell you that statistically, he's right there.
You can tell me statistically whatever you like.
Yeah.
If I was picking the top 5 quarterback, or I could pick 5 quarterbacks to be on my team, I would not waste a pick on him. I think that the guy is old, and it's just a matter of I know we've been saying it for years, but we all know it. One day it's just going to happen. It's just going to break down. If he doesn't break down soon in the sport of football, I think that he should be examined for fucking PED use. I really do.
Okay.
Because you can't tell me that, Tom, you're 54 years old. You can't tell me that 3 weeks ago you felt good waking up and you feel better today. I
agree with you. But knowing Brady, the guy, his big treat to cheat on his diet is avocado ice cream. I mean, the guy's just a health freak. He works out religiously. Again, he also plays quarterback in a system where he doesn't have to be the most athletic guy in the world. But you're right. His arm strength is freakish at 44 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
listen. I think there's a lot to go with Brady. If I was picking a team today, would he be my number one pick? No, of course not, because he's 44 years old. You're right. But as he stands right now, I still have to put him. If he was coming back next year, he's in my top 5. He's in my top 4, maybe my top 3. Again, until I see him fail, I've been saying for years he might fail.
And you know what? Listen, Roethlisberger, 39 years old. Yeah. Evidently, this is his last year.
Yeah, I would say.
Which leads me to believe somebody like Brady, okay? She's right behind him. Come on. How much longer is this guy possibly going to fucking go? Russell Wilson, 33 years old, 34 years old.
Yep.
He's going to start to decline too.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson's got to be in your top 5 or 7, though. Not mine necessarily, but he's in there.
Top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
I don't know about. I would have to really sit and come up with a top 5. But like even Rodgers, how many more years has he got in the league?
I agree. He's 38, 39.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Roethlisberger just went out the door at 39.
Yeah, but
Rodgers can't be around for much longer.
No, I got you. If you're starting a team today, I agree with you. You might not take those guys, but as they're playing today, you'd have to say they're in the top 5 guys right now. Rodgers couldn't have played any better this year. The guy's walking around out there like he's 20 years old. He's flinging passes all over the place with a broken toe in his foot.
Yeah, you know what? He is. He is. That you can't take that away from him. He is. But here's the thing, okay?
Yeah.
They're not playing today. They don't play again until Sunday.
I got you, but
and that means that's in the future. And even though it's the very near future, you just don't know when this guy one day is going to wake up and he'll be like, "Uh-oh, this didn't happen."
Listen, of course, I agree with you on that. But at the end of the day, right now, Sunday morning when he wakes up, he's the best football player, quarterback-wise, playing this weekend. Come Saturday morning when the first games are played, Saturday afternoon, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL this weekend playing football. That's better than Josh Allen. That's better than Patrick Mahomes. That's better than Tom Brady. He's the guy this weekend. There's some good quarterbacks playing this weekend. Should be a lot of fun. This is going to be a really good weekend of football. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. But, there's a couple quarterbacks that are interesting. Let me touch base with you on these before we get going. Tom Brady, it's an interesting. Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl. He could walk away, or think about it. Nobody's won a three-peat. Does Tom Brady come back because of that to win it? What if Tom Brady gets knocked out in the playoffs? Does he come back and try all over again? I think there's a 30-40% chance this is it for Tom Brady.
Every year we go through this. Every year he comes back.
I got you, but it's interesting. I think if my first thought this week was if Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl, he walks away. You got to go out on the top. It's harder and harder to do this. But then I said, if you win 2 in a row, which I don't see them doing. I don't think they're good enough, and they have a lot of injuries right now. But if they were to somehow win a Super Bowl, he's got to come back and try to win for 3 in a row. That's the only thing left in his career he hasn't done is win 3 Super Bowls in a row.
Listen, I hope that if he comes back, that his knee folds backwards and that he walks like a praying mantis the rest of his life. That to me would be ideal. That they would be like, Tommy, was it worth it, bro? Was the quest for the third worth it?
Well, I'm sure he would say yes. The guy's a competitor. The other guy who's going to have an interesting weekend, and I think a little bit of the monkey off his back is your guy Matthew Stafford, who finally won a big game. Now that the Cardinals were terrible, but let me ask you this magic question. Okay, everybody says he's never won a playoff game. He can't win the big games. He won and won. Okay, we'll say it's a little bit of bad team he played. If he wins this week, is that enough to get the monkey off his back? Does he need to make it past Aaron Rodgers to get that monkey off his back? At what point do we say, okay, Matthew Stafford, he can win the big game, even though he hasn't won a Super Bowl?
I think that's the game they're talking about, Tom.
Yeah, I agree.
Game. I don't think that at this point in time you could say, well, you know what? He's been in the league 12, 13 years, whatever it is, and he finally won his first wild card game. yeah, he got knocked out in the second round or the first round, whatever, second round.
Second round.
So next year maybe he gets to the NFC Championship game. His window's closing a little bit more each week.
Sure.
Okay. First of all, Matthew Stafford. Okay, we didn't really see much of him in Detroit, other than maybe once a year, and with everything else going on Thanksgiving Day. I watched the Detroit Lions, but I never got to sit and watch the whole game.
Sure.
Okay, but watching the Rams this weekend, and the NFC, the Monday night game, he is very slight. He's a slight football player. Okay, he's not a big guy. Okay, I'm surprised he hasn't had more injuries over his career. Now, a lot of people say that he's a very tough player, very tough man. Yeah, but the guy looks like he's a little bit bigger than a half man. And he looks like a young kid behind there.
Yeah.
Small. I don't know how much more mileage he has. You know what I mean? It's like in a brand new set of tires in a yard sale, and you find out that they're dry rotted. You're going to get a couple hundred miles out of them, but by next winter, you're looking for something new.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it with him. I'm not saying that he can't play next year, but I definitely wouldn't be signing him to no 5-year deal. Let's put it that way.
Well, I heard it today driving into work. It was a rebroadcast of Chris Mad Dog Russo show, and they were talking about this very subject. That's where I got the idea from it. And Russo said, you can't expect him to win the Super Bowl to get the monkey off his back. He's got to go through Brady and then Rodgers probably to get there. So if he wins this week, the monkey's off his back because he went to Tampa and beat Brady. And I said, not for nothing, I watched Eli, go to Texas State, go to Dallas and beat Romo, go to one of the coldest days of the year, beat Brett Favre in Green Bay, and then go beat the 18-0 Tom Brady Patriots to win a Super Bowl. So I'm not saying that Eli's the greatest quarterback. I'm saying is if Matthew Stafford wants to be thought as an elite quarterback going into his legacy, to me this is exactly what he's got to do. Go win this week. Beat Tom Brady in Tampa, go up to Green Bay and slay the dragon that is Aaron Rodgers, and then go win the Super Bowl. If you want to be thought of in that breath, if that's your legacy, then you have to. You can't settle on, well, I beat Brady, but I lost to Rodgers. That doesn't work. You can't lose to Tom Brady this week and then pat yourself on the back. I'm sorry. And that's going to keep the doubt on him until he wins these games, Jeff, that you're talking about, and gets to a Super Bowl and plays well. To me, his legacy is good quarterback can't win the big game.
Oh, listen, he was on a bad team for years, but that's you bring up Eli, and you got to remember that Eli is nothing more than a 500 quarterback.
Here we go.
At best, 500 quarterback.
2 Super Bowls.
Two lucky Super Bowls.
2 Super Bowls. MVPs.
Two lucky Super Bowls.
2 Super
anyway,
Bowls, MVP.
500 quarterback, 2 lucky Super Bowls.
Go ahead.
Okay. And you're talking about him, and Stafford probably doesn't have the record that Eli has. He probably has a sub 500 record.
Oh, I would imagine being from there. I'm sure, absolutely. Now he's probably got a lot of passing yards, a lot of touchdowns.
Well, he does. Probably a lot passing yards. I don't know about touchdowns, but I definitely know for a fact that this guy is definitely not anywhere near 500.
No, he's got to be well below 500. And here's the thing, I think a lot. If you're not you, but I'm saying if you're a Stafford guy, you're pointing the finger that, well, he played in Detroit. It was terrible teams. Now, you're playing in the Rams. Great defense. You got the best receiver in football right now, Cooper Kupp. You were 3 deep there. You run the Akers. You got a great team, offensive line. There's no more excuse for Matthew Stafford. If he doesn't come out there now, listen. If he goes to Tom Brady this weekend and throws for 350 yards, goes 24 of 35 for 350, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and they lose, you can't blame the guy. He's played well.
They're always going to look at him, and that's nothing. You could say whatever you want about Matthew Stafford, okay? Yep. Because his sub 500 record in the regular season, to me, he's got to win more than 2. So he's got to win 3. He's got to win 3.
He's got to get 1 to even be in the conversation. And you're right, 2 probably gets him into the Hall of Fame. 1 Super Bowl with his record probably doesn't get him in the Hall of Fame. 3 Super Bowls for anybody is a lot of Super Bowls.
It is a lot of Super Bowls. But if you
Yes.
want to say that somebody was there overcome and was able to win, show that he could win the big game, he can't just do it once, okay? And let's say that he does do it 3 times by some chance. Let's just say, which I know is more than likely not going to happen. I would definitely bet against it ever happening.
Sure, yeah.
You got to think to yourself, if he does come back and win, okay, let's just say that he wins 3 Super Bowls.
Okay.
One of them, he's being carried. He's being carried by the team,
right?
Without a doubt. Out of one of those 3, he has to carry that team. It had to be on his shoulders most of the season and most of the playoffs. He said, "We're going to win," and took that team and went off and did what they had to do.
Now,
if he doesn't,
right?
He's just Matthew Stafford.
I do want Matthew Stafford's career to date. I have it in front of me.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see.
Okay, so Matthew Stafford has started 182 football games.
I'm going to say he's easily 30 games under 500.
No, you'd be wrong.
Really?
Yep. Okay, he's 86 and 95 and 1 tie.
86.
So 11 games. 11 games under 500.
So he's a little less than a 500 quarterback.
Let me give you his quick record for his career. I'll go through the seasons. Not a bunch of bad ones, or a couple of bad ones, but okay. So first year he played 10 games, 2-8. Second year, 3 games, 1-2. Okay, now he's the full-time starter, Jeff. Third year, 10-6. Fourth year, 4-12. Fifth year, he is 7-9. The next year, he's 11-5. Then 7-9, 9-7, 9-7, 6-10. Then he was 3-4-1 and 5-11, and then this year 12-5. So a few good seasons in it, a few more than I expected to see.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't see.
Yeah. So now I'll give you. He has 49,000 yards passing, just 5 yards short of 50,000. Now he's at his 12 years in the league. 323 TDs, 161 interceptions, and his completion percentage is 63%.
Completion percentage is a little low, no?
I listen. It's probably the league just little lower than the league average. I would want to see probably 65, 67, closer to 70%. I don't know how many quarterbacks are at that. But I don't think it's egregious. Not a ton of interceptions. I mean, he's got double digits in a lot of years. His first year, he was 20. Then he had a bunch of 16, 17, 19, 12, 13, 10, 10, 11. Only 1-2 years with single-digit interceptions. But 12. So, yeah, again, his average year, Jeff, let's see. His average year would be... let's see. No, that's the Rams. No, they don't give you they don't give you an average. I thought they were going to give me an average. They don't. So anyway, good numbers. 50,000 yards. I mean, a lot of 4,000-yard seasons. One 5,000-yard season in his third year. So again, 41 touchdowns is his high. The low is on a full season is 19. So again, a good quarterback. Knowing that now and where he's at, do you still think he needs 3 Super Bowls, or could you take it down to 1 gets him in the running and 2 gets him in?
I think you can take it down to 2.
Yeah,
I still think he definitely needs more than 1.
I think 1 gets him in the conversation. I think 2 gets him in.
He plays another 4 years.
I would say
on a successful Rams team.
Yep.
Say he plays for another 4 seasons after this one.
Yeah, he's 33.
There's no reason why he can't play 4 or more.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that he could actually end up with a 500 record.
Listen, this Rams team is still fairly young. They got some players. You could see him, being successful a couple years. That division's pretty good. So it's not going to be an easy run. But yeah, again, I agree with you. I think he could finish over 500, and he's got decent stats. Again, it's inflated like everybody in this era is. Their numbers are inflated, but again, I think but I think at this point he can't just be happy going into Tampa and beating Tom Brady, and a Tampa team that's a little beaten up right now. if you go to Green Bay and you win that game, I'm going to be impressed. If they go win a Super Bowl, and we're going to talk about the teams that are left right now and who's got the best chance and the games for this weekend. But I think Matthew Stafford, until he makes a run and, not just wins a wild card game or wins a division game, he needs to go and slay the Dragons, those guys, and then you put him in that conversation. But until he does, he's going to have that thing hanging around his neck as the guy who can't win the big one.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't know if you could say that, only because he was on a team that got nowhere near the big one for God knows how many years. Now he's on a team, the Rams, that definitely stand a better chance than the Lions ever did.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that, let's see what he does with this team. There's no reason why the Rams can't win. They did go to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
Oh, I agree.
I just don't know if they have the killer instinct to like, if they're involved in a shootout, is this, do they stand a chance? You know what I mean?
No, I think here's the question for me coming into this weekend. If the game's in the fourth quarter and they're down 10 points, can Matthew Stafford put the team on his shoulders and carry them into the play and carry them through the game? I think that's the question. Can he get them? Can he get out to a heavy lead, a little bit of a lead in the first half and win the game? Sure. But to me, you're down 10, 12, 15 points, going into late third quarter. Can Matthew Stafford rally his team? That's going to be the question for me. Can Matthew Stafford, drive the field, with the game on the line and win on the road? That's that'll answer a question or two for me.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? So, he's got a lot. Listen, talented player, and has the ability right now with the team around him to go to the Super Bowl. I think that I think this team. I think just about any team in the playoffs right this second. There's a couple I don't think have a chance, but I think every team in the playoffs right now could wind up in the Super Bowl. Obviously, that's the case. There are 8 teams left, but I think everybody. There's a lot of teams that have a legit chance, and they're one.
Yeah, I would say that. Of course, when we go over the list, we each how to put it 1 through 8. So there's a team that we didn't think was going to get there or doesn't stand the same chance as getting there, but we will see.
All right, so Jeff, let's not wait any longer. Again, that's Jeff Towinski. I'm Tom Flory. We're Hard Rockin' Sports, and we're here every Thursday night, 7 o'clock through 9:30, thereabouts. Some weeks a little sooner, some weeks a little later. Depends what's going on. Again, this Sunday, the Sunday Audible show is a special time, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Jeff Towinski, myself, and our good buddy John Marhefka break down all the day's games. So tune in this Saturday morning, 9 a.m. for all of that. So Jeff, let's get to it. You want me to go first? You want to go first? You want to do one each? Your number 8, my number 8. We could do it any way you want.
Let's do your list, and then I don't know. Let's just go by feel. Let's see how it happens.
You got it. So Jeff, my number 8 team, the team with I think has the least chance to get to the Super Bowl, and I'm going to ask you after all of this why they're the most disrespected, number 1 team in football. I'm going to tell you is the Tennessee Titans. I think the Tennessee Titans have zero chance, in my opinion, of getting to the Super Bowl.
Well, I have a tendency to agree with you, and I have them rated pretty low on my list also. So
okay, so let me run through my list.
Do you want me to compare lists and tell you where?
You know what? Let me do my list, and then I'll write your list and see if we have any that kind of we agree on, and we can kind of debate our list a little bit. So let me run through my list. You can comment along the way, and then you'll run through your list, and I'll comment along the way. Ready?
Okay.
My 7th place team, and I really love this team, and I'm a big fan of their quarterback. I just think their defense is not good enough, and they're still a little wet behind the ears. Is the Bengals? I think I love the Bengals. I'm pulling hard for them this weekend. It's going to be a tough game with them and the Titans. But if you're asking me today, I think the Bengals win this weekend, but I don't think they have a chance to beat either Buffalo or Kansas City on the road. I think it's going to be a stretch to win this weekend because the Titans are very physical. So I'm going to tell you my number 7 team is the Bengals.
Okay.
Moving up to number 6, Jeff, team we just talked about, and because of their quarterback, because of some injuries, and because of who they're playing this weekend, I'm going to put the Rams at number 7. I think the Rams A little overrated, a little overinflated. They played a great game the other day against a very bad team. I think there's a lot of holes in that defense. Disappeared for a very long time. I do not see them going into Tampa and winning, even though Tampa's hurting. I think Tom Brady finds a way to win, and he'll outduel Matthew Stafford. So I'm putting the Rams at number 6 on my list.
Just for the record,
yep,
we do not have a match as of yet.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to be curious to see where you're going, but that's okay. A team I think is a very tough out and a very physical team, but a team I thought faded late in that game and have a very big question on their quarterback. At number 5, I have the 49ers. Wow. I think the 49ers are, while a tough out, and will play a very physical game this week in Green Bay. I think if they faced almost anybody else, I'd give them a better chance. But I'm going to tell you that I think Green Bay is my number 5 team with a chance to win the Super Bowl. Now it gets a little dicey for me. I'm going to go number 4 is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are playing great football. I still think there's a lot of holes, and I think there's a very tough matchup for them this week. I love the way that the Bills played last week, and even though they played against a team that played very badly, but I like to play their quarterback. I think they're running the ball well, and they have a good defense. To me, the Chiefs are number 4.
Just once again, for the record,
still no matches.
No matches.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be very interested to see where your list goes. My number 3 team was a little bit of a challenge for me this week. But I will tell you, because of all the injuries, the age of the team, there's a lot of controversy running around there. I put the Bucs at number 3. You always have a chance with Tom Brady. Gronkowski's played really well. They've done a great job of letting him do the things that they do well. But there's a lot of injuries on that team. Fournette, if he plays, is unhealthy. Godwin's still out. They're not the same defense they were last year. I'm going to put the Bucs at 3. That puts the Bills at number 2. I think the Bills. I did with my preseason pick. I picked against them last week. Got it with my heart pick. But the Bills are playing sound football. I think this is their opportunity. They're number 2, and I'm going to go Packers because of the way Aaron Rodgers is playing. He's getting Randall Cobb back this week. The defense is playing pretty well, and you got to go through Lambeau in January into February. I'm going to make my Packers number 1. So I got Titans, Bengals, Rams, 49ers, Chiefs, Bucs, Bills, and Packers.
We have one pick in common.
Okay. That's what the show's all about. So go ahead, Jeff. Run off your picks. I will track them on my sheet here. Go ahead. Number 8.
All right. My number 8 is the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow. It's so low. I'm surprised. Why so low?
Well, I felt as though they kind of backed in. They were a late entrant to the playoffs. Jimmy G, he's got a bad thumb and a couple nagging injuries. And if he don't go, then you got Trey Lance that has very little, if any, experience at all.
Yep.
And now you're asking the guy to start playing in the playoffs. So that, to me, is a big thing. That's why they're number 8.
Okay.
Number 7, the Titans. There's just something about a team with Ryan Tannehill on it winning the Super Bowl. It just doesn't sit well with me. With Julio Jones that didn't get to play much, with Derrick Henry coming back from a foot injury and everything else, I just don't see this team gelling and putting it together now. When they're going to for the the win.
Okay.
Number 6, the Bengals. Reason why? Inexperience. Total inexperience.
Okay.
I know Joe Burrow went to the top of the heap in the college football playoffs and for years, with new winning down at LSU. But this is the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that has grown, but I feel as though that next year they're going to grow a lot more and may end up being one of the best teams in the NFL. Number 5, depending on how they decide to come out and play, I got to go with the Buffalo Bills.
Wow, very low on the list. I'm a little surprised by that.
And so am I. I really thought about this list.
Okay. And what's got you so down on the Bills? They played much better the late in the season and had a great game last week. What's got you so down on the Bills?
Well, the beginning of the season, they were kicking ass. The end of the season, they were playing really good. Mm-hmm. And then everything in between just...
Yeah, I agree.
And so you don't know. They can go back to that any second. You don't know. So to me, I don't have until they win it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, does your feeling on if they go out to Kansas City this weekend and beat the crap out of the Kansas City Chiefs, does that change? Again, they're down to the last two teams in the AFC, but does that change your feeling on them at that point, or do they need to go to Super Bowl and win for you?
It would. I mean, listen, right now this list is subject to change week after week. Right now, until we have an absolute winner, of course. Would it change my perception of them? Yeah, of course, because now they're that much closer.
Yeah, I got you.
I like Josh Allen as a quarterback. I like watching the Buffalo Bills. I think they're a fun team to watch. Because my personal team, the Jets, that I root for, sucks. I'm able to watch these other teams and just, watch them play football.
Right.
And Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills play a great game of football.
I agree with you.
Having fun.
Yep.
But when you had that long stretch, it's one thing to have maybe a 2 or 3 game skid, but when you had that long stretch where they lost the lead and then they had to get it back.
Yeah, they let the Patriots in. They let the Patriots hang around and they actually let the Patriots run a good part of the season as the number 1 team in the AFC. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so
4.
My fourth one, the Rams.
Wow, pretty high up on the list.
To Stafford, Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
Doing part to, maybe some injuries. You got Odell Beckham on that team. Who knows when he's going to fucking freak out? Yeah. You just don't know. I don't know the Rams that well.
Okay.
But you just don't know what's going to happen. What happens if they have an injury? Do they overcome adversity? Are they capable? Do they know adversity? I don't know. They did make it to the playoffs, up to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and then completely imploded. And now Jeff Goff is over in fucking Detroit.
Yeah.
So just total. That's it. You're done.
All right.
Number 3.
Yep.
The only team that we matched up would be the Buccaneers. I hate putting them up that high, but I couldn't really put them down that much lower until he's out of the playoffs.
Yep.
There's not much that you could do or say about Sam. What's his name? Not Sam.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Number 2.
Yep.
On my list, the Packers.
Wow.
Okay. I just feel as though that the Packers are gonna, possibility of packing it in between now and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All it takes is one bad game. Some of the teams that are left, one bad half, and it may be too much, too late for you to come back.
Yep.
And then my number 1 pick, another team that until they're out, I wouldn't discount, and that is the Chiefs. You watch Patrick Mahomes play, and it's almost like this guy plays at a different level at will. And when he feels as though that it's time and that he's done fucking around, off he goes and he just brings it up to a different stratosphere.
Right.
I firmly believe that this game, Saturday or Sunday, whatever game it is, when the Bills and the Chiefs play, the winner of that game represents the AFC in the Super Bowl.
Bills Chiefs is Saturday. Sunday night, 6:30.
Nice. That is the AFC representative of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I want to finish up your list, and then we're going to finish talking about your list, and I want to talk about the number 1 seed in the AFC. But yeah, Jeff, I agree with you. I happen to agree. I'm rooting hard for the Bengals because I think it's a fun story, but I do think the Bengals can find a way to sneak past the Titans. I think that's an iffy game.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I'd be shocked if they didn't.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of firepower. They have to spread it out and they have to just find a way to stop their running game. Regardless of Derrick Henry, they've run the ball really well, the Titans. But the Bengals, I think, have enough firepower that if they got a couple touchdown lead, that game would be over early. I just don't think after that they can either go to Buffalo or Kansas City and win a game.
No.
I think both those teams are a little too seasoned and a little too deep for the Bengals to beat on the road.
Yeah. Listen, next year, there is a good chance that the top 4 quarterbacks
Go ahead.
in the NFL are going to be out of the AFC.
Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, and Herbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Very good chance. I mean, Brady and Aaron Rodgers are another year older.
And not for nothing. I'll take it even a little further.
Go ahead.
If Mac Jones continues to play it the way he does,
yep,
he could be number 5. I can't give nothing to Zach Wilson yet. I mean, let's be serious.
No. Yeah, he's maybe a couple of years away. More.
He may be so far away he don't even register on the calendar.
No, I agree. I don't think this. At that point, I don't know who. I mean, Derek Carr is one of those guys who's a good quarterback, but just hasn't registered yet. For me.
Well, let me ask you something. You have a great team, Super Bowl caliber team. You have a choice: Teddy Bridgewater or Carr.
I'm going Carr.
Or you're going with Carr because it's Bridgewater. But now,
yes,
you got Mahomes or Carr.
Yeah. No, listen, Derek Carr doesn't make my top 10. I think he's a good NFL quarterback. But if you threw a bunch of names in a hat, I would not put his name and have to be picked out. He's not my guy. I think he's again a good quarterback, but not a guy I would want leading my team.
No, right now he was definitely, there was 8 teams that were eliminated.
There were 6 teams eliminated, right? Yeah, because then you had 2 teams come back into the thing. There's 8 teams left. There was 14 total. Last week we had 6 games. That's 12 teams.
So 6 teams were related or were eliminated.
Eliminated. All right, you have 6 teams left, and you add 2. So yes,
I don't even know if I could turn around and say that he was one of the best quarterbacks eliminated last week.
Well, let's put it this way. Let's run a quick. Let me say I do a quick off the top of my head. The quarterbacks who played last weekend.
Dak.
Okay, you got Dak and Jimmy Garoppolo. Is he better than those 2 guys?
No.
Okay, all right. I'm not disagreeing. You got Brady and Jalen Hurts. I would say he's better than Hurts.
Definitely.
Stafford and Kyler Murray.
No.
It's close on the Murray thing. I still would I'm not a fan of Murray, so I would that's a tough one for me. But let's say we both gonna stick with Murray. So right now the only guy he's better than is Jalen Hurts, right? And so far. Okay, then you got Mac Jones and Josh Allen.
I gotta say Mac Jones is probably have a better upside on Mac Jones.
I would, if I was picking quarterbacks, I would take him for sure. Then you got Joe Burrow, who I would take Burrow over him any day of the week. I think and then you got Mahomes and Big Ben.
The Big Ben had maybe be the worst quarterback in the tournament.
No, to me, Jalen Hurts was the worst. Ben was just 90 years old and played terrible, but I would still take Big Ben over Jalen Hurts at this point. So yeah, so you're right. He's not even the best of the worst quarterbacks left there.
No,
right? At that point, Dak's out. I think I'm not a Dak Prescott fan, but I take Dak Prescott over him. All right, Mac Jones got eliminated. I take Mac Jones over him. Hurts is out, so okay, I'll take Derek Carr. So Derek Carr winds up in the bottom 3 of the worst 6.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I agree with you. I think your top 5 quarterbacks very likely, and you're right, probably come out of the AFC next year. Well, let's take Rodgers and Brady out of it. Who's the best quarterback in the NFC?
Shit.
Russell Wilson?
It might have to be fucking Dak.
See, Dak Prescott is widely overrated. I mean, I watched every play last week.
To the other quarterbacks in the NFC.
No, I agree. That's why I would take Russell Wilson over him. I'm not a huge fan of Russell Wilson at all. I think he's overrated. But if I had my choice of the 2, I'm taking.
Well, real quick, you don't have a quarterback in Philadelphia or Washington that you're going to want.
Nope.
I don't think that Daniel Jones is the answer.
But let's leave him out of the equation for now, because we'll make the argue a little bit on that. But let's leave Daniel Jones out of it.
Daniel Jones. I mean, right now, as far as the best quarterback in the NFC, it's definitely not Daniel Jones.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Okay, it's definitely not Kirk Cousins. It's definitely not Justin Fields.
Nope.
It could be Aaron Rodgers, but you said to take him out, right?
Yeah, take Rodgers and Brady out because they're no brainers if they're playing. You have to put them up there.
And who else was?
Yeah, Jared Goff in Detroit.
Jared Goff. Yeah, I mean, come on, no.
Okay, you take Jared Goff out.
You have Donald, Winston, Jameis Winston.
No.
Okay, then neither one of them.
Where do you put Matt Ryan at this point? Matt Ryan's still hanging around in the NFC.
I don't know if I'd put him as the best in the NFC. Maybe top 3 if you're taking out Brady and
yeah, I'd have to say again, this is my side of it. I'm going Russell Wilson, maybe Matt Ryan, as my top two guys after Brady and them. And, that's highly questionable at this point.
Well, knowing what's left in the league, I think you have to go maybe who's left? Stafford, Ryan,
Goff,
and Dak is the top three.
I would say, yeah. I would have to agree. I would agree with you. I'm not a Dak Prescott fan, but when you put it that way, I would say
when you take certain names out, he's definitely.
Yeah, I would say, and I forgot about Stafford. I would say right now, Stafford is probably the best NFC quarterback in that bunch after Brady and Rodgers.
Now, let's just say top five.
Yeah.
Burrow, Herbert. Who else did we say?
Burrow, Herbert, Josh Allen, and Mahomes.
And then whatever. Do any of those guys in the NFC even come into the top seven?
That's a great question. Top six maybe. I mean, again, taking Brady and Rodgers out, the answer would be Stafford would probably wind up probably at 5 over Mac Jones, unless Jones was some sort of come huge upside next year. I would say Stafford would be 5, and then I would follow it out with probably Mac Jones.
Well, I don't know. You're going to put Mac Jones. You would take Mac Jones over Dak Prescott?
Right now, yeah. I honestly, I tell you what, yes, I would do that because I think Dak Prescott is completely overrated. I think you're going to see another giant step next year from Mac Jones. Again, could if you said to me, you wanted Dak instead of Mac Jones, I wouldn't faze me because Dak has done it, made the playoffs this year. But again,
well, you can't use that against Mac Jones.
No, absolutely
Guy's
not.
First year in the league, he did make the playoffs. He just got knocked out.
Yeah, he looked terrible, and he's had some bad moments, but so has Dak. Again, I would on a preference, I'd take Mac Jones. I think he's a better game manager. Dak has a better upside right now. Yes, he can have a big game, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. He runs the ball well. I think he's more of a game manager, and I think he's widely overrated as a passer.
Mac Jones also has the better option or the more solid option at head coach. I don't know. It sounded like
absolutely.
Everybody was too happy with McCarthy after that.
I agree. Yeah. So, but I think your point's well taken. You could easily make the argument that your top 5 quarterbacks next year, without Rodgers and Brady, without those two guys, your top 5 quarterbacks are in the AFC.
I believe so.
Yeah. And here's another one I heard this week. We're talking about quarterbacks a little bit. I was listening to Craig Carton and Evan Roberts on FAN, like I do most days driving home. I flip back and forth, and I find them funny more than and entertaining more than knowledgeable. But they were talking. Carton was talking about, and I got a little turned off the way they handled the Joe Judge thing. I thought they got it real personal on getting the guy fired. But regardless, there was a rumor about the Giants and whoever's coming over for GM wanting that. Let me say, Deshaun Watson supposedly said, if so-and-so gets the job as coach, I'd love to play for him with the Giants. And Craig Carton said, the minute Deshaun Watson steps on the field, not having played one single play yet, he's the best Giant quarterback of all time. And I said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, while I know you're not the biggest fan of Eli and Phil Simms.
Well, that's why I'm saying I don't know about that. Man, I don't know. Listen, you got to give credit where credit is due. First of all, is this guy ever going to step back on the field?
I think that's this first big question. I don't think he's ever going to get back on the field. At least I don't think next year.
Yeah. Okay. So then you're talking about a quarterback that's been 2 years removed since his last game.
Yeah.
Okay.
At 27 years old. Yeah.
I don't know if that's an accurate statement.
Yeah, and Jeff, let's put it this way. Let's say, don't forget, he missed this year. He wasn't suspended. He hasn't even faced any penalties yet by the NFL. He's accused by 22 women of sexual harassment. So right now, he's not even given a statement till February. That comes out. Let's say
there's been no date announced about him in the
correct.
Statement.
So let's say by June, he's made whatever. The police have gone. He's maybe gets some probation. Maybe he gets knocked down. He settles the civil penalties. It goes away. He pays a few $1 million, and that goes away. He still hasn't been. He still has not been dealt with by the NFL. Who I tell you can't possibly let him on the field without at least a 4 to 8 game suspension.
If not more.
I'm saying at least, right. So think about it.
Let me ask you this. He goes in February.
Yeah.
Free agency starts in March.
Yep.
Okay. Any kind of trade or whatever, and the draft at the end of April. Who in their right mind is going to want this guy?
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I don't feel it, man.
But and especially right now, don't forget he's still on their team. You're giving up almost a king's ransom to get him, and not you almost got to know from before you trade for him. You'd have to know what the NFL is going to do to him.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you going to give up 3? Are you going to give up 3 number 1 picks to get Deshaun Watson and not know if he's playing for you next year at all? At least, he's going to make the second half of the season.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So
totally agree, but I don't think who is the team that's going to give up 3 number 1 picks. You know what? I would go talk to him. I would talk to them, and I would turn around and I'd say, listen, this is the deal. Okay. I'm not giving you 3 number 1 picks.
Nobody's giving him 3 number 1 picks.
You give me the offer that's acceptable to take him off your hands and let me know.
Yeah.
Right? I'll work with you. I'm not telling you what I'll give you. I already have a deal in mind, but I want to see what you're telling me. And then if you want to do business, that's fine. You're asking me for X amount of number 1s and all this other shit. You don't even know what this guy's stat. He may be in fucking jail.
Yep. 100%. That's the point. I think that's the point for me. Is that he might not play football for 3 years.
And how much time does he have left on his
contract?
Yeah, do you know?
I have no idea. I'd have to look that one up. I don't know. He's got at least a couple years left because he's still a member of the Texans next year. Yeah. So I think he's at least 2 more years, if not 3.
Jesus.
I think he just signed an extension not too long ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, I don't think Deshaun Watson's going anywhere. I don't know if he's playing it all next year. And if he goes, if I was a team, it would be one of those things. I give you 1 number 1, and you have to be able to give them maybe a pro-ready quarterback. Maybe not a great quarterback. Like if you were Chicago, you would be giving them Nick Foles or Andy Dalton. Like you'd give them somebody who can step in and play football if they had to. If you're the Giants, it makes sense. You give him a number 1 pick and Daniel Jones. He's an NFL-ready quarterback. Might not be great. Who knows where he's going to go? But I think that's more realistic than saying, hey, you want the guy who might not play for 2 solid seasons, and then have that stigma attached to him. By the way, I want 3 number 1 picks. Doesn't make any sense.
And then you're probably going to have to deal with this guy with a long-term deal anyway.
Yeah, I think the place that I thought that might be the most sensible place for him to wind up would have been in Miami, because they could have said, okay, we'll give you Tua, we'll give you a number 1 pick, and we'll take Deshaun Watson off your hand, and that makes everybody happy. But I don't know if that's the case now. I know that Brian Flores was enamored with him and hated, did not want anything to do with Tua.
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah. Again, Jeff, if you're the GM, I'm the GM. We're certainly not making a deal that way. We're going to go as to me, it's almost conditional. All right, I'll give you 1 number 1 and 2 number 2s, unless he plays opening day next year and he doesn't get suspended at all. Then one of those number 2s becomes a number 1, like one of those kind of conditional things. But I'm certainly not giving up 2 number 1s without knowing what the future brings. And I tell you the truth, I don't even think the guy's worth 2 number 1 picks, to be honest with you.
Well, listen, compared to the players that some of these teams, our quarterbacks have, some of these teams they have, he might be.
Maybe. I agree. Risk. But being the tallest midget in the circus don't make you 7 foot tall either.
No, of course not.
So if you're a bad quarterback, just because the other guys around you are bad, don't make you better. It just makes you less bad than they are. That's all. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? So let's get on to the playoffs a little bit, Jeff. It's getting close to 9:00, and I want to get to go through the playoff games this week. But before we do, there was one thing I want to, the Titans, Jeff, they had some stretches this year where they played really well. They were a tough team. They wound up to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. They got the bye home game. They're basically home throughout the playoffs as long as they keep winning. Yet there isn't one person, including us, who thinks much of the Titans. Why are the Titans the most disrespected number 1 team I can remember?
I don't think it's that they're disrespected. You know, it's people don't believe because you have Derrick Henry with the foot injury.
Yep.
You got Tannehill that didn't do much in Miami. And now what is this, his third year in Tennessee?
I think so. And he's been nothing more than a game manager there. He's never been great there.
You know, they got Julio Jones, and he ain't done much, if anything at all, this year.
Right.
So what is the reason to believe and throw your eggs in that basket, man?
But I'm not arguing with you. I'm just playing a little devil's advocate here. They still were the number one team. They still bested the Bills. They still bested the Chiefs. They still, they finished ahead of all these teams, even though we both agree that they're not necessarily the most talented team. And think about it. What do we always talk about, you and I? Run the ball really well, play good defense, and have a quarterback that doesn't make a ton of mistakes. They have all of that, yet neither one of us have them anywhere in the top to have any chance to win to get to the Super Bowl. And we're not alone. Most of the experts think they're going to lose this week, and I can't figure out why that is based on how they play and where they finished this year. It's just really strange thing for me.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Again, we talk on the Sunday show about out on a limb. I don't think it's an out on a limb to think that the number 6 seed in the Bengals can go to Tennessee and win this game. I don't think it's that far out on a limb.
No, I think the Bengals would be able to handle the Titans.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, again, Derrick Henry's back this week. Again, how much he'll be healthy and win this week, I don't know. Again, we're going to run through the games right now, guys. So thanks for stopping by and listening to Jeff and I. But Jeff, I'm going to tell you flat out, I'm picking them right now. I'm going to pick them on Saturday. I'm going to pick the Bengals to win this game. I think the Bengals are the better team. They're playing better. I think they have the better quarterback. I think the best player on the field Saturday is going to be Lamar Chase, and I don't think they have an answer for him. And now I think obviously they can win the game. The Titans, I don't think it's a stretch, but I like the Bengals this week. I think the Bengals are going to be a tough out this week.
Yeah, I could. I would have to pick that too. I really would. I think that Joe Burrow is going to be, once he gets. I could see him making it to the Super Bowl multiple times once he gets the experience and the knowledge and the know-how. I don't think he's going to get one trip and that's it. I could see him getting a couple trips to the fucking.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this isn't Goff and Wentz that had those couple of years where they were really good. We questioned Goff and Wentz from the start when they from being number 1 and 2 in the draft. I mean, both picks have at this point, neither one of the guys are still on the same team that they were drafted from. I think both guys have had, I would say at this point, Goff's had the better career, but have either one of them had, better than expected careers at this point?
No, I don't think so, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I agree with you. I think Joe Burrow, the ceiling is very high. And I think within the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to have a conversation, you and I, whether it's on this show or hanging out, who's better, Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, and which one of them is the best quarterback in the league?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I really believe that when you watch both of those guys, you can watch guys play and go, that guy's a quarterback. And I watch those two guys. They still make mistakes. They're both second-year players. But when I look at those two guys, I tell you right now, if let me ask you the question. I'll tell you flat out for me. If somebody said, Tom, you're the GM of your team, you're picking, these are your 3 choices at quarterback: Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, or Patrick Mahomes. Who you want? It ain't Mahomes.
No, you don't think so?
No. To me right now, if I was starting a team today, these guys are all in the same age bracket, the whole bit. I think Patrick Mahomes is a bit overrated in the sense, all that crazy stuff that he does running around, throwing the ball. He's not the most, people think of him as athletic. He's not super athletic. If I'm starting a team, I'm taking Joe Burrow, but it ain't by much. I'll take Herbert second, and then Mahomes is going to be third. I just like the way those two guys play the game They take less chances. I think they're going to be better quarterbacks. Now, I'm asking you the same question. Right now, you have three choices. Give me your direction. Which three guys you going? What order?
I think I would end up going with Mahomes just because of the amount of experience he has. And right now, he also plays with Andy Reid, and I think has a lot to do with it.
Okay, I can't argue that. That's it's definitely a factor. How much longer Reid's going to do this, I don't know, but yeah, okay, I would agree with you. Out of the other two guys, which would you go first? Would you go Herbert or would you go Burrow?
Jeez, man, that's so hard, man.
It's splitting hairs. It really is splitting hairs at this point, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know what? I'm going to go Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow. And the reason I say that is because Burrow got hurt last year.
Okay.
And, he has a bit of an injury history. So that's how I'll do it.
Okay. All right. So we're both taking the Bengals in the that's the Saturday 4:30 game on CBS. Titans and the Bengals. The Titans are only favored by 3.5. Now, remember, the home team gets 3 points. So right now, Vegas, the odds think that basically the Titans are a half a point better than the Bengals at this point.
Well, listen,
so I think that's telling you everything you need to know.
Coming off an injury, you got Julio Jones that hasn't done much.
Yeah.
So how could it be any other way?
Yep, I agree. So Jeff and I taking the Bengals to start that now.
Talk Radio.
Tune in Saturday. You may hear something different. Maybe something will change my mind or Jeff's mind. But this right for Thursday night, Jeff and I are going with the Bengals. Second game on Saturday, Jeff, is going to be the Packers and the 49ers, 8:15 on Fox. Interesting game. The 49ers are a very physical team. I got questions at quarterback. I love this kid, Deebo Samuel. Is just he's kind of like a bigger version of Tyreek Hill. Can do it all and is very explosive. So I love what they did on Saturday because did on Sunday beating the Cowboys, but they did fall apart a little bit, Jeff. And then you got Aaron Rodgers, 30-something years, 38 years old, 39 years old, probably playing his best football in a long time. This is a tough game for me. I like the Packers because they're home. I think it's going to be a very tough game. I think the difference in the game for me is simple: quarterback. I think Aaron Rodgers is that much better than Jimmy G, and that's why I really like the Pack in this game.
I think Jimmy G is one shot away from hitting somebody's helmet on a down throw with his thumb. I'm dead serious. Okay, we've seen it happen sometimes with these quarterbacks. It's on his throwing hand, so God only knows what could happen.
Yep.
You got to go with Packers with this one.
Yeah. Now, how much of a factor do you think at this point the Lambeau Field is? We've seen in the playoffs the last few years, teams have gone up there and won games. Is playing in Lambeau with the technology people have, with the cold weather gear, do you think it's that? The 49ers are a California team. Do you think the weather being cold in Lambeau this weekend is any sort of factor anymore?
Yeah, sure. Without a doubt. You're talking a warm weather team going to a cold weather site, a cold weather city, such as Green Bay. And it's not just cold, it's fucking cold.
Yeah.
It could be 11 degrees, if not colder, at the start of the game. And that makes it fucking horrible to be in.
Yeah.
And the wind chill could bring it down into the minus 20. So, yeah, whether and you really want to get tackled on the turf in Green Bay?
It's a tough one.
That has got to be like hitting cement.
Yeah, again, listen, it's a tough place to play. But listen, playing there is no guarantee of wins. We've seen them lose over the years. I saw them lose one of the coldest games I've ever watched to the Giants back in the day. They won that game, so it's not impossible, but. Yeah, I think it's a little much for this 49 team. I think they're a tough team. They got some good players. I just think they're a little light at the quarterback position. Again, you're 100% right. Jimmy G's got a bad hand. I know they gave him some rest this week. They gave him cortisone shots. They're giving him all sorts of shit. But I think it's got to be affecting him. And to begin with, I think he's just an above-average quarterback.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm going to take the Packers as well. I think Jeff and I are on the same page here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the Sunday games. Again, division games this weekend. One of the best weekends of football you're going to see. I think last week's games, 6 games, a lot of hype, didn't live up to it. I think this week You have some really good football games. I'll ask you, Jeff, before we get into the third game, give me the game you think is going to be the best game. Give me the game you think is going to be the blowout.
Oh, man. Well, I think that the Packers-Niners may be the blowout. Bills-Chiefs going to be the best game to me.
I would agree with you 100%. I would agree. Give me the game you think has the best opportunity for the underdog to win.
Oh, wow. Shit. I'd imagine the Rams are going to be underdog to the Buccaneers.
They are, yep.
So I'm going to go with the Rams.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm gonna pick the Bucs when we get to it, but I think the Rams have the best opportunity as a dog to win. Not to say that the Bengals are dogs. I think we're picking them, but I think at the end of the day, when you're really looking at it, I think the Rams are playing well enough where, as an underdog, they really should be a lot closer. Okay, so let's get to Game 3, which is Sunday, the 3 p.m. game on NBC. Which is Bucs Rams. Jeff, for me, this game comes down to the quarterbacks. I think Tom Brady is just a little bit better. I want to see Stafford do something big on the road, have that game, and it's going to come down to can Aaron Donald and Von Miller get to Tom Brady? They did last week. So Brady got sacked 4 times in that game by the Eagles. Yet it was 31-0 at half, 31-0 late in the game.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the truth. I don't know what's going to happen, but I got to go with the Rams and who controls the clock. The Buccaneers have some injury issues. Tom Brady, you don't know what's going to happen, and if Matthew Stafford could get out to a lead and control the clock, and with a more healthy team. Brady doesn't have Fournette to lean on.
True.
So how is that going to affect his running game? So I got to go with the Rams on this one.
Yeah. See, I'm not going to argue with you because I think this is a game that could go either. If I don't know what the line is, I think the line is 8.5. I want to say. I think that sounds very high to me. Hold on a second. I think I'm off on that. Let me get that for you, Jeff, because it's important to me. The line for this week. Okay. I'm sorry. No, it's only 3 points. It's only 3 points. The biggest spread this weekend is Packers 5.5 over the 49ers. So, this is a pick'em game for the most part. Take away the home team getting 3 points. This is a pick'em game. So, I can easily see the Rams win this game. I don't think they're going to. I think Brady at home has enough firepower. Evans, I think the defense is playing okay, not great. And the Rams flying across country, winning the game. I don't see it. I'll take the Bucs to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I do not see a blowout here. I almost think it's one of those Brady's down a little bit in the fourth quarter, and he makes that final drive and wins the game late.
It's possible, but I'm hoping that Sam Bradford gets enough points up early and is able to fend them off.
Again, Stafford has the ability. Cooper Kupp, that's a good offense. The offensive line's playing well there. Brady's offensive line's got, I think, Tristan Wirfs, their starting left tackle out.
And their center, too.
And the center's got a bad ankle. They have 2 guys with bad ankles. So I think it's going to be a tough matchup with that defensive line. So, I think that's a tough game. I think it is the best chance for an underdog to snap up there and win a game. But I think ultimately that's not going to happen. I think Brady finds a way to win this one. I don't like the Bucs to go all the way. I still think the Packers are the team. But, you know what, Jeff? This is a crazy weekend. To me, I could easily look up Monday morning and see a championship game of the Rams and the 49ers.
Yeah, it's Rams and 49ers. Well, you right now, you didn't take you took the Niners, right?
No, I'm taking the Packers to win it. I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me.
No, nothing would shock me.
Yeah. I still think it's Packers Bucks. I think if you're the NFL, you're drooling over Packers Bucks NFC Championship game. You're drooling What's the AFC game if you're the NFL? Is it Bengals Chiefs? Is it Bengals Bills? What's the game you think they want?
It's already happening. It just happened way too soon. Bills Chiefs.
That you think that? Yeah, but I think you can't have that in the AFC Championship game.
Well, no, you can't have it in the AFC Championship.
So what's the game for the AFC based on what's seeded right now in the two games?
Well, listen, with the games here, I mean, anybody really want Tennessee?
No.
So and the Bengals are up and coming. So I mean, yeah, the Bengals versus the Bills or the Chiefs would be cool. But if you're talking about a dream AFC Championship game,
oh yes,
got to go Bills Chiefs.
Yes, that would 100%. That would have been watching that next week would have been huge to have that game. I agree with you wholeheartedly. That would have been fun,
especially if Josh Allen wins this year.
Yeah, I agree. And I tell you what, I think for Josh Allen, I think another I thought they were ready last year. This year, I think it's almost he can't. Not that he can't lose. He can't have a bad game like he did last year. He needs to have a good game, play really, really well. If they lose, because if he walks off the field with the lead and then they get beat, Josh Allen's done his job. There's nothing you can do about it. Josh Allen needs to play really well. Otherwise, you're going to start to hear the whispers.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, it's his first year. And, listen, how many times did Brady beat Peyton Manning to get
you heard the whispers. Peyton can't win the big one until he did.
And he finally won one.
I agree with you. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying is at some point, if he goes out there and has, one of those 17 for 35, 125 with 2 TDs, 2 interceptions, people are going to say, great regular season quarterback, but can't seem to win a big game.
Well,
that's what's going to start.
That's a different story. I think that anybody would say that.
Right. That's my point. Listen, if he goes out there, throws for 350, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he loses, he's done all he can. Well, I'm just saying is if he goes out to the opposite, then you're going to start to hear people go, oh my God, what's going on with this guy? Is he really that good a quarterback? Is he just, beating up on the AFC East? Is he just beating up on, a bad AFC? Those conversations will start to happen, right or wrong. Though that's what happens. People talk that way. So back to the Bucs Rams. I'm taking the Bucs. You're taking.
I'm taking the Rams.
You're taking the Rams. Should be a great game Sunday at 3 p.m. to kick off the day. And the game ends with, I think, is probably the best of the 4 games, probably the most intriguing matchup. Is this the one game, Jeff, you're going to make sure you watch?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is the most intriguing because, obviously, the Chiefs are trying to get to the AFC Championship game for the 3rd straight year.
Keep that up for a second. Right.
Sure. Again, guys, Hard Rock and Sports, Jeff and Tom hanging out here on a Thursday night with you. We got a few more minutes. We're going to finish up the NFL and then call it a night. And we thank you guys for stopping by tonight and hanging out with us for a little while. And we hope you Saturday morning you join us at 9 a.m. when Jeff, John, and myself, that's John Mahefka of RFL Record fame, you join us for the Sunday Audible this Saturday, special time, special day, 9 a.m. this Saturday right here on the Hard Rock and Sport Network, as well as the Sunday Audible Network. So make sure you guys stop by and hear our picks officially, and probably a good time. You'll probably get to hear our friend Rafael Esparza, who will join us for a few minutes this Saturday to talk football and life and all that good shit. So make sure you tune in, guys. And it's division weekend, guys. Division weekend. 4 good games. I would say the least attractive game is probably Titans-Bengals because of the Titans. But I'm going to watch all 4 games, and I'm really looking forward to probably the 2 night games, the Saturday night with the Packers and the 49ers, and then the Chiefs-Bills. Bucs Rams is going to be a fun game on Sunday afternoon. Again, that could go either way. And I'm excited to see what the Bengals look like on Saturday. But either way, it's 4 good games, and we're at the last one. Jeff, again, we've talked about it for a few minutes now. Bills, Chiefs. You got two of the big guns in the quarterbacks. You got Andy Reid, the old pro. You got the up-and-coming Sean McDermott. You got 2 teams that are playing really good football as of late. And you're 100% right. This is this should have been the AFC Championship game, but unfortunately, because of seeding, it's not.
Depending on who makes it to the Super Bowl, this could have been the best game for the Super Bowl too.
It's very possible. So, and listen, coming out of this game, a lot of people will say winner of this game is the Super Bowl champ. There's a lot of people. I'll say it because I picked the Bills before the season. But this could be the winner of this game could be your Super Bowl winner, because I think these two teams might be the two best teams in football. I'm always a little reluctant on Rodgers because of past performances in the playoffs, and there are some questions on that team. I think the Bills are the most complete team out there. That's why I will pick the Bills this weekend to win this game. I think it's a 1.5-point spread. This is going to be a very close game. The Bills are on the road, but I think there's a lot of holes in the Chiefs right now. And the one thing I've learned, Jeff, is this team, and while I think Tyreek Hill is a fantastic player and the most dynamic, I think it's not Kittle. What's the guy? Travis Kelce, I think, makes that team go. And when he has a big play in a big game, that is a tough team to beat. They run the ball well enough, but I don't think the defense is good enough. I think the Bills are a complete team. I like the Bills to win this in a touchdown game.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It might be a touchdown.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
But I will say this much: I wouldn't be shocked at whoever wins the game, but I think that it's going to be Mahomes' game. I think that he has a little bit more drive going into this.
Okay.
Kelce, if the Bills somehow take Kelce out,
yep,
like you said, and just neutralize him, that could be it.
Yeah, I agree.
But because it's Mahomes, I think that he could find a way to get Kelce back in it, that even if they do neutralize him, they'll make adjustments. You're talking about Andy Reid. He's not one of the best because they got nothing else to call him. So there's going to be people that are going to be able to make changes and adjustments on the Chiefs that will make that game close. Close game without a doubt, but I'm going with the Chiefs all the way on this one.
You got a high score. And are you thinking in the 30s? You think these teams are putting points up on each other all over the place?
Yeah, I could see a game 41-35.
Wow.
28-31, 31-28, I should say. It's not going to be a low-scoring game.
I agree. I think the higher the score, the more it lends itself to a Chiefs win. I think the Bills have the better defense. I don't think Kansas City's defense is any good at all. I think if it turns into a defensive game, the Bills have the advantage. If it's wide open like you think, and guys are slinging it and they're getting touchdowns, yeah, I think you're right. I think the Chiefs have the advantage and could win. But I think that the Bills will run the ball enough and play enough defense where I think it'll be a 27-21, 27-20 game. Very, very close, even late. But I think the Bills are just too complete a team, and I think they have enough experience that they can go into Kansas City and win a game. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it will be.
Yep. And you guys can hear some more of this on Sunday morning when Jeff and I get together with John and we break down the games with our good friend Rafael Esparza, the head odds maker at mybookie.ag.com. And again, guys, it's been a blast this week. We've went through the whole thing. We got lots. We got a lot more coming up in the near future. Like I said, we're working on some guests, including Jeff's favorite, the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, I think that would be great. That would be incredible if we could get him.
I agree with you. It should be a lot of fun. And Jeff, listen, it's going to be a cold weekend. You off tomorrow? You working?
Yeah, I'm off tomorrow. I should have been going to work tomorrow, but no, I'm going to be off. I actually got to go to the doctor tomorrow. Just regular routine shit. But
okay,
thank God, man. I'll never be so happy as to see that doctor again.
What is that?
Because tomorrow is going to be like 18 degrees.
Oh, gotcha.
And with the snow and possible snow coming and the way shit goes at my job, anything could happen tomorrow.
Really?
They come up with things that just like, please, not now, not now, not now. And all day, my boss was in, but he was in the back in the other building. And I don't know if he was pissing in a coffee can or what. But the only bathroom over there is in my office, and he didn't come in to use the bathroom. He didn't call me. I didn't see him. I got emails. I didn't have to answer them via emails. It was like 20 after 3, and I was getting anxious because I'm like, I got 10 minutes. I get out of here. I won't even see him.
Right.
And as I was leaving, I seen him out front, and he's got his phone like this. And I was going to beep the horn, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. And I just kept going. And I could have sworn that he was going to call me, and I'm still waiting. Thank God it hasn't called. So I don't know what the deal is going to be for tomorrow because I ain't going to be there. So I really don't give a shit. So
there you go. There you go. Little day off. It's always that. It's your technically your weekend. So Friday and Saturday. So you're off and then back to it Sunday. But you got some football to look forward to. We got hopefully a resurrection of the I won't say Hard Rock and Sports Band. I think that's kind of getting put to rest. But we're hoping we're 4/5 of the way there. Let's say, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is up with this guy. I'm gonna have to fucking call him or something.
I guess so. I don't know if he's away. It doesn't sound like that gentleman not to respond, but
no, I know.
Who knows? But I hope everybody gets to watch the games and stay warm. I'm gonna get my wife. We're gonna cook up a couple of steaks on Saturday and maybe a little pasta on Sunday and watch a little football and enjoy ourselves. And I got a little work to do around the house, but that's never going to end. We'll see how that goes, and I hope everybody comes back on Saturday and listens to us do this all over again.
Yeah, I mean, what happened today? What the fuck? Would we fall off the face of the earth? Yeah.
What's that?
Only Mike Wiseman.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of people up on the thing. I could see how many people are generally listening, but nobody's communicated. That happens. We get weeks where we get tons of people, and then other weeks where we don't. But we're still in the same ballpark every week, couple of hundred to more listening, and obviously there's at least a few people in Israel listening. So between both things and YouTube, we're doing okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would like a little bit more interaction here with some of the people's.
Yep. Yeah, again, listen, it helps when we can kind of look at the screen and somebody makes a comment and throws, Frankie Catalano or what's his name, Patrick.
Anybody. Anybody.
Yes, but and all that. But listen, guys, I'll end it here. I'll start the thank yous. So I'll start with my dad. Thanks to my pops for checking in like he does every week. Thanks to everybody out there listening and commenting, and the people who support us, like Jay Giasio and Joe and Mike over at Hemp Wizard Beard Care Co., who supplied Jeff with a little bit of his beard product. So thank you.
Look how pretty I look, man.
That's it. And make sure you check out their new stuff with Squatchy, their new scent from our boys at Black Sasquatch. And Mike did make a promise, Jeff, that he would, after everything settles down, work with you on possibly a Jeff Towinski scent. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty fun. Again, I think that's whiskey, pepper spray, and White Castle. But what the hell? We'll see. We'll see what that smells like. I might grow a beard just to use the Jeff Towinski scent. I have to do it.
You gotta grow one of those porn stashes.
We'll have to send it to the Sheik. I think the Sheik still got the handlebar. We'll have to send it to the Sheik.
He does. Yeah. Maybe that's why you can entice him. Ask Mike if he's a wrestling fan.
There you go, Mike. If you're listening, we need to know if you're a wrestling fan. We got to entice the Iron Sheik to come on the show. So you might need a little help with a little care package.
Yeah, we should put something. You got to do it. Got to get some shirts, whatever. Find some stuff, some koozies, whatever it is you got. Some stuff. Just be like, Cheek, this is what we'll send you, man. Come on.
There you go.
Plus a few dollars.
There you go. We'll see if we can make that happen. But thanks to everybody who listened online. Everybody's listening around the world because, honestly, guys, whether you believe it or not, there are people around the world listening to this show. So I want to say thank you to anybody who is taking their time out, wherever they are, whether it's listening live or off or on a replay. Thank you very much for paying attention to us because we do enjoy it.
Yeah, man, of course. This is why. I mean, Israel, I can't wait for the day that you come on the show and you're like, we have hit 9.
Listen, we were creeping up on 8 forever. We couldn't get past 7-8, 7-9, and then we broke it. And now every week it was 8:04, 8:14 last week. This week it's 8:20. So we're gaining a little steam.
So we're like 8 1/4.
We got next week. We're looking for 8 1/4 to 8:30. So we'll when we hit 9, we'll make a big deal out of it. That I promise. We'll make a bigger deal out of it.
Listen, I'll put it out there now. The people that if you get us to 9, you co-host a show with us.
Wow. Listen to that. We'll throw out the number. Guys, if you're listening in Israel, 347-826-993-4 is the phone number to call in.
And don't forget, international rates do apply.
Oh, look at you. Look at you, Jeffrey. Nice. I like that. The true ad man in himself, Jeff Dowinski.
You may want to get one of them phone cards.
There you go. There you go. So, again, guys, we had a lot of fun tonight. This is a blast. I was exhausted coming in, but I'm going to get the second wind when I get on with Jeff and we talk sports and music. And we'll do this again next Thursday night at the Hard Rock and Sports Show, 7 o'clock next Thursday night. So put it in your books. We got a great weekend of football. 2 good weekends of football coming up. Then a break in the action. And we got the Super Bowl, latest Super Bowl ever with the February 13th game on President's Weekend. I think I'm pretty sure that's President's Weekend. Yes.
Did you look? Did you see?
I'm almost positive it's Monday. That Monday is President's Day, as well as Valentine's Day.
That's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I also believe it's President's Day.
No, wait a minute. That's March. President's Day is the 21st.
Oh, really? It's late this year. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I was hoping that they would do this game on President's Day weekend, so that way Monday everybody's got the day off. But I'm on vacation, so I would tell you, I think it's the first time since 1986 the Giants won the Super Bowl, and I took the next day off. And me, Frank Jeffrey, Danny Brusco, and Jerry Brusco went to Giant Stadium after the Super Bowl, and we stood in Giant Stadium parking lot. It was a snowstorm and one of the coldest days of the year, and we waited for the Giants to come back in on the bus. They came in, they flew home, and they came in on the bus, and we were sitting there, and then we stayed overnight and went to the Giant rally in Giant Stadium that day. It's the last time I took off the day after the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Me, Brusco, we slept in the car. Me, Brusco, the 2 Bruscos, and Frank Jeffrey.
You slept in the car?
In my 1971 Chevy Nova.
Oh, my God. You got to be fucking kidding me.
We were in the stadium parking lot about 10. Well, it was after the game. So the game was probably over 10 o'clock. I would say by 11:30, we had sandwiches and drinks, and we were in the park. It was snowed, and it was freezing. And somebody, I think one of the Bruscos bought some liquor. We drank, and we slept in my car. And at I think 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock the next day, they had a rally in the stadium. They had a whole big thing, and we stayed there. I don't know how and why. We easily went home and came back. And we were there for that. And then we finally went home after the rally, and it was one of those memories.
I thank God I wasn't there, because just the thought of the smell of the inside of that car by Monday morning must have been beyond horrific.
Well, let's put it this way. I want to say we all watched the game together. Did you watch the game at Brusco's house? Because I think we all watched it together.
Oh, I watched that game at my friend Nicky Scatino's house.
Okay, so I was at Jerry's with Danny. I think Frankie was there. I want to say Dom. There was a few guys there. And then, again, we got the idea to go to the stadium and watch and do this. And we went. And, I would tell you it was a bit on the stinky side. There was a lot, nobody went, because don't forget, I probably left my house that morning. I think we played football. And then got home, showered and changed, and went to Jerry's house for, say, 5 o'clock. And from 5 o'clock that night to the next afternoon, there wasn't a lot of showering and brushing of the teeth.
Oh, my God.
So we all slept in my car, freezing, and very little food. I think we had bought 4 Hero sandwiches, and it had to last us to the next afternoon. We were starving. We were thirsty. Whole bit, nothing to drink. Very poor planning.
Yeah, well, listen, sometimes the best times happen with poor planning, but just the idea, like I said, the 4 people in the fucking Nova, somebody whoever got stuck in the back seat, who the fuck was stuck in the back seat?
I'm going to say it was Frankie and Danny. I think me and Jerry were up front, and Frankie and Danny were in the back seat.
Oh, my God.
I'm almost positive. I don't think the two Bruscos were in the back seat together. Although I think Frankie, maybe with the tallest guy, might have gotten front seat duty. I'm not sure.
I'm getting claustrophobic just thinking about being in the back seat of that fucking car. The only thing that they had going for them is just those seats didn't recline back then.
And also think of this. We're there. Now listen, we're there. I'm going to say 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. And the stadium don't open until at least noon the next day. And there's not a bathroom to be seen.
Well, that's not a problem.
As long as you got to just do number one. What if you got to do number two?
It's not a problem. If there's nobody else around, it's not a problem. I mean,
no, the parking lot was full. Yeah. The parking lot was hopping.
You're going to tell me that nobody that night took a shit in the parking lot?
I don't remember.
Not necessarily with you guys. Whoever was in the parking lot that night, somebody had to take a shit.
Unless I'm vaguely remembering Porta Johns, but think about it had to be about no more than 20 degrees out.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
About 4 o'clock in the morning, going, all right, I got to go to the bathroom. You're running across the parking lot to a freezing cold, stinky, dirty, shit frozen Porta John.
Well, the only good thing about all of that is the cold weather is going to keep the shit stank down.
That's true. That's true. But I would definitely tell you it was one of the most interesting. And it was, the players came on the bus and they were waving and high fiving people, and it was a blast. And I should have went home, slept, and came back. But for some reason, we thought we needed to sleep in the parking lot all night and go to the rally. And boy, were we mistaken. So,
yeah, listen, it happens. Sometimes you think it, I don't know.
But
it is what it is.
Thank God. So this will be the first year since that day that I get to stay home the day after the Super Bowl, get to stay up nice and late, and not have to worry about going to work the next day, bleary-eyed. And I start a 2-week vacation. So again, we won't start a vacation tonight, but we're going to say goodbye. So again, thanks to my dad, everybody listening, and thank you to all of you guys who pay attention and support us, including our friends at Beard Care Co. and Sam Bone, and our good friend Mark Scott, who's got the vodka coming out pretty soon. So make sure you support Mark and his endeavor. So Jeff, I'll give you the final word.
Not more to say, man, other than another good show down in the books. Hello to our friends in Israel and all the other abroad. Do you have a list of the countries real quick of where we're
You want me to tell you? I can give me half a second. I can bring it right up. 1 second.
Of course. We always we just acknowledge Israel. We got to acknowledge everybody. I know there's like the I don't know. Is there anybody in Ukraine before it switches hands?
Well, get out. So our main, obviously the United States is 65% of our audience. Canada is 15.84%.
So that brings up to 80%.
Well, and I'll tell you right now, Jeff, our number in Israel has jumped already. We are at 8.22%.
No way.
Jeff, we started the show at 8.20. We are now at 8.22%.
Wow.
France says we are at 1.20 in France, 1.05 in Japan. I will tell you some other places. Let's see. Australia is 1%. Indonesia, 1%.
Indonesia. We love Indonesia.
India, we are at 1%.
Hello.
Miramar, wherever that is, that's right next to India, we're 1%. Let's see.
They're just listening from the echo that he gave his house.
And I'm not happy about this, but we have 1% of our listeners in Vietnam.
Really?
Yes. 1% of our listeners are in Kenya. 1% of our listeners are in Nigeria.
Now,
Spain, there's a new one. Spain, 1%.
Kenya and Nigeria.
Yes.
Any moment, one of those listeners could get dragged off into the brush by a hyena or a gone.
Jeff, 1% in Italy right now.
Really?
Yes. Greece, 1%. Don't turn your back on anybody. Germany, 1%. Poland, 1%. Jeff's homeland.
Yeah, my homeland.
Ukraine, Jeff, Ukraine, 1%. Jeff, please speak to the people of Ukraine real quick.
I implore thee in Ukraine, don't listen to Biden. He made it seem like it's okay to invade you. That's not the way that we're thinking here. We're not on with this, but we don't want a conflict with Russia, bros. You got to handle this. You got to do what you got to do the right thing. Take one for the team so we're not getting bombed, okay? We cannot let Joe Biden lead us through this. Just get absorbed into Russia. It's okay. Let them take over Chernobyl. It'll be fine. Everything will be good.
Well, we are 1% in Russia right now. We are, so you can speak to the Russian people if you like, Jeff, if that makes you feel better.
Vladimir, listen to me, please. Just do this and do it quietly. Let's get it done. Don't worry about Joe. No retaliation on Joe. He's not going to do nothing. Don't worry about it. Please.
Jeff, in Uzbekistan, we have 1%. In Uzbekistan, people are listening.
Wow.
United Kingdom, 1%. Brazil, 1%. Argentina, 1%. Mexico, 1%.
Wow.
Yeah, we have people. There are actually people listening in all these places, whether it's for a minute or 2 minutes or 10 minutes. And some of these places are very new. Ireland, 1%. Jeff, there's somebody in Ireland listening to us.
Wow.
I think we hit all this. So those are just some of the places. Yeah, there's just some of the people, some of the places that right now are tuned in. South Korea, 1%. I just found South Korea.
Jesus Christ, South Korea, man.
Yep,
wow.
Not North Korea, Jeff. Your boy, Kim Jong-un is not listening.
Imagine if he was.
He only listens to Dennis Rodman.
Imagine if he was and he sent you a friend request.
So those are the many places. And guys, you can look this up. This is not me making this up. This is simply a dashboard, and they list it. And like I said, in the course of 2 hours, we gained 0.2% in Israel. So we're doing better and better, Jeff.
We may be taking it over there. What we're going to have to do from now on,
go ahead,
as far as the foreign numbers go, we're going to have to keep an eye on that during the radio, during the show, and see the buildup. Like, is that how that works? Like, they start listening, 1% is listening, and now it's up to 2%.
I don't know. I've never checked it during the show before. It's usually after the show's over or before we start. I kind of run through it. I've never noticed the fact that you can actually gain listeners as you're going. So, yeah, obviously, I started the show and I checked just before the show went on the air. We were 8.2, and then I just looked now. We're 8.22. So, yeah, I guess they update this as we're going. So right now, somebody in Israel has tuned the radio into the Hard Rock and Sports Show.
Wow. You know what they probably listen to us for?
What's that?
To drown out the cries of all of the brists that they're doing over there.
Slicing the penises?
Slicing the peckers.
They're drowning. So the sounds of our melodious voice are better than the cries of the young children
of an infant.
Yes, screaming from pain.
Yeah.
All right, listen.
Well, actually, I believe, and you have to look this up. This is maybe something that this is going out on a limb.
Well,
I have heard that the rabbi does that procedure with his teeth.
With his teeth?
Yes, that's what I had heard. You'd have to look that up. And if that's the case, the horror, if you're a little kid old enough to know what's somewhat going on, this big hairy man with a beard grabs it and puts it in his teeth and rips the skin off, and you're like, and,
I think we just lost three. I think we just lost half our listeners in Israel.
No, now they're really going to listen.
Yeah. Well, let's end this one right here, guys. It's been a lot of fun. And if that's Jeff's way of ending the show, what the hell, man? That's what it's all about. So thanks to everybody who's paying attention and who's listening, wherever you are, whether you're in Vietnam, Greece, Spain, South Korea, or the motherland of Israel. Thank you all for listening. And thanks to everybody around here who's paying attention to us, because makes it a lot more fun. So thanks to everybody. I hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you Saturday. Whoever you guys want to come back and watch a little football talk on the Sunday Audible this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. If not, we'll see you back here next Thursday night. Jeff, myself, and everybody here. So again, for Jeff Towinski, myself, and everybody at the Hard Rock and Sports Show, I say thank you. Have a great weekend, a nice week. Enjoy your football, and we'll see you back here next Thursday night. Have a. I'll talk to you off the air.
See you later, man.
See you later, pal.
Bye.